Well, I was walking down the street, feeling kind neat, when the wind came out your butt and blew my wig off. Oh, it was a sight to see, my hair flying in the breeze, 'cause the wind came out your butt and blew my wig off. People started laughing, they couldn't believe their eyes, as my wig flew through the sky. Oh, what a surprise. I tried to catch it, but it slipped right through my hands, 'cause the wind came out your butt and now it's somewhere in the land. Oh, wind came out your butt and blew my wig off. Drive like shit. Did you see that car that you almost hit? I'd rather take the bus instead. Riding with you, I'm gonna end up dead. Don't ask me if I need a lift. Baby, you drive like shit. She just ran through, always stop. I ain't trying to get stopped by the car. It's a miracle that you're still alive. Don't ask me if I need a lift. Baby, you drive like shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Look out, my girl is driving. Watch out, my girl drives like shit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Heard you think you're tough. Gotta let you know, I will fuck you up. I whoop that ass, talking all that shit, spank that ass till you tap like a bitch. No, I ain't playing, I'm here to kick ass. I'm the one who brings you pain in the ring. I whoop that ass until the bell rings. Already know that I do not play. Throw a punch like I'm cutting down hay. I whoop that ass every single night. Spank that ass till they stop the fight. I'll tell you the story of a man, a radioactive tip in his hand. His hand grew 10 times its normal size to help him get his money on time. He knew if the bitch was telling a lie, which was 100% of the time. Superpowers to make a bitch listen, then get her naked with sex-ray vision. Sweep a police station in a single bound, slapping bitches down to the fucking ground. His name was famous across the land. They called him the pimp named Superhand. Oh shit, yeah, his pimp named Superhand. He had powers no other pimp had. Oh fuck yeah, his pimp named Superhand. That motherfucker was super bad. Asking for dinner ain't asking for much. You had one job and still fucked it up. Sometimes you gotta learn respect. I use my pimp hand to correct. It's called a bitch slap, slap. Come get your face clapped.
Welcome back, y'all, to another one, man. Another episode over here on the JVJ Network. I am your host. I ain't got my glasses on yet, y'all. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Ready now. But look, y'all, welcome back over here to the JVJ Network. I am your host. Let's talk with JVJ, man. Look, we got a good one for y'all tonight, man. This is something that, it's political time, it's political season. And we like to talk about these conversations between the candidates and their running mates and things of sorts like that. All that little fun stuff, that's weird and lame, all the hip and cool kids. But, we're going to talk about it over here because it's actually important. But, man, look, I need y'all to constantly do the same favor that I be asking y'all to do every time. So when y'all weigh in, man, make sure y'all hit that like. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe. Make sure y'all are sharing the videos, turn the noties on, and all that in the bag of chips, man. But look, we're gonna get into this vice presidential debate. And I'll be honest with y'all. I will say this ahead of time for all the people that might come later and try to say, "Oh, y'all covering the vice president or presidential debate. It doesn't matter." It really doesn't. But it matters in the sense of if you really think forward, you have a forward-thinking type mind. If something happens to the president, kind of like what just happened a second ago, because we have so many people say, "Oh, Kamala didn't get no votes." Well, that kind of comes with the territory of the president's not going to run. So who was the next person in line? The vice president. And it goes. You're seeing a different they can play out. They ain't just got to get deleted. They can just be like, "Nah, I'm going to step down at the last minute and the next person's up." So you might want to look at the candidates that you have behind them or their running mates to understand if you'll be okay. You'll be okay with them being the president if anything seems to happen. But yeah, y'all, look, we're gonna get into this vice presidential debate, and we're gonna see what's popping. We're gonna see what these two gentlemen had to say, man. And we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna try to have fun with it. So I hope y'all ready. I'm ready, man. Look. We're gonna get into it tonight. That ain't my background. They've been stealing my background, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, man. They be watching stuff around here. They be seeing what we be doing. But look, y'all, we're gonna get into it. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. I'm gonna drop the link a little later, so anybody that wants to lend their opinion, their thoughts on this debate, if you want to call it that, you're more than welcome to come up. Just make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe for your boy. And we're gonna get it, man. If you watching on Facebook, make sure y'all hit them likes, them loves, or whatever them shit says. I don't know how Facebook works. But let's get it, y'all. Let's see what we got.
In New York, America decides the vice presidential debate.
Good evening, I'm Nora O'Donnell, and thank you for joining us for tonight's CBS News Vice Presidential Debate. We want to welcome our viewers on CBS, on other networks here in the U.S. and around the world. We have a consequential night ahead, and our focus is the issues that matter to you, the voter. Let's introduce the candidates. Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz and Ohio's Republican Senator J.D. Vance tonight meeting for the first time.
I'm Margaret Brennan. In order to have a thoughtful and civil debate, these are the rules that both campaigns have agreed to. Questions will be directed at one candidate who will have 2 minutes to respond. The other candidate will be allowed 2 minutes for rebuttal. Then each candidate will get another minute to make further points, with an additional 1 minute each at the discretion of the moderator. The primary role of the moderators is to facilitate the debate between the candidates, enforce the rules, and provide the candidates with the opportunity to fact-check claims made by each other.
CBS News reserves the right to mute the candidates' microphones to maintain decorum. We have not shared the questions or topics with the campaigns. The stage is set. Governor, Senator, thank you for joining us. Let's get started. Tonight, our country is facing several unfolding crises. The Middle East is on the brink of war. Americans are suffering from the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Helene. And now a labor strike as 25,000 dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing. We're going to begin tonight with the Middle East. Margaret.
Thank you, Nora. Earlier today, Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel, but that attack failed, thanks to joint U.S. and Israeli defensive action. President Biden has deployed more than 40,000 U.S. military personnel and assets to that region over the past year to try to prevent a regional war. Iran is weakened, But the U.S. still considers it the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and it has drastically reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room, would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you. And thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental, and ending the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago. A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment. But it's not just that. It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when the world is this dangerous. His chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed human being he'd ever met. And both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person closest to them, Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness that is able to draw on the coalitions to bring them together. Understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see Donald Trump turn towards Vladimir Putin, turn towards North Korea, when we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, we will stay committed. And as the vice president said today we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance.
And that right there is what you call repeating talking points. Yeah, I'm not going to go in depth on it, but that's what you get when you get those stutters and those hesitations. That's what you call repeating talking points that you might have forgot, even though you've been practicing this for weeks. Let's keep going.
The same question. Would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit, because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are. I was raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother required Social Security help to raise me. And she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country, for the American dream that made it possible for me to live my dreams. And most importantly, I know that a lot of you are worried about the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes that if we get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once again. Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line. Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Thank you, Senator.
All right, y'all. Here goes another one. You know I got to speak on it. The bad guys. Who determined that anybody's the bad guy? Is it us as the United States? I want people to understand something, because this is a normal talking point that I see a lot of people getting behind. A lot of Americans will travel abroad, and if you haven't traveled abroad, you'll figure it out once you do. A lot of Americans will travel abroad, and they will wonder why people of other countries have no respect and dislike Americans. It's because of that mindset right there. People step out of line to who? And he's referring to America as if America is the leader of the world. Who crowned America that? A lot of people around the world view America as a bully, and they do not like them because of the things they've done, the things they stopped from happening, and so on and so forth. I understand the mindset. I understand a lot of people in America want to be, but just understand, you don't build more enemies with telling other people what they can and can't do. Well, actually, you do build more enemies that way. I'm sorry. You don't build more allies telling people what they can and can't do. But I get it, y'all.
Governor Walz, do you care to respond to any of the allegations?
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office. We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies understand that Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled. Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomat.
Gotta stop again. Matter of fact, let me come up half screen on the half screen. This is why I tell you Democrats are stupid. And for all the people that are Democrats in here, I hope y'all are paying attention so y'all can understand why the people that represent you sound dumb. For 3+ years, Republicans were saying that Kamala Harris didn't do anything. She was supposed to be this, she was supposed to be that. She's done nothing. She hasn't done anything. Where is she? Literally had commercials and campaign ads going, where is Kamala? When she was a vice president, y'all. And now they're saying on the Republican side that look at her policies. Look at her policies. Look what her policies have done. She's not the president. She was the vice president. And earlier you were saying that she does nothing. And then you have dumb Democrats right here talking about under her leadership. So you're going to have to, trying to make it seem like she's been running some things, even though she hasn't. You're going to have to accept their insults that she's done nothing in their eyes, because now you want to make it seem like she's leading. They don't understand, and I don't think American citizens pay attention or keep up with what's been said in the past and what's constantly being said over the future. We got a lot of people that do revisionist history. For the longest, the Republicans said Kamala Harris was a terrible VP pick because she doesn't do anything. And now they're saying that look at her policies and look what she's done. And the Democrats will jump right into that and be like, yeah, under her leadership, look at her leadership right now. That bitch ain't running shit. I'm just throwing it out there, y'all. She's not running that. But I don't understand how they don't understand messaging. But, we going to keep letting it flow. So far, it seems this seems to be pretty civil. I will give you that, man. This ain't like Trump was up there right now and nothing like that. This seems to be pretty fucking simple. But we're going to see how it plays out. We're only 20 minutes in. And the link is dropped. Anybody who wants to give their opinion on these conversations, by all means, make sure you do that. And we're going to keep on rocking after I change this Logo. Let's get it.
Diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible. Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump, who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years. And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before. Ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Gentlemen.
We're going to pause right there, man. I got my boy Bean up in the building. I'm going to bring him up right here. Look, yeah, I do got to say something to that point that was it JD Vance said? JD, you can't gloss over the fact that there was actually a deal on the table with Iran that would limit them from having the nuclear weapons that America and other people don't want them to have. You know, they're a free country to do whatever they want to do, but only what y'all say they can do, right? There was a deal on the table that kept them from being able to have nuclear weapons. Donald Trump ripped it up, said, nope, we're not in that deal anymore. And that was it. And now Tim Walsh, not Tim Walsh, but JD Vance is sitting here telling us that this happened under Kamala Harris's watch. She's the vice president, but dude, your dude ripped up the deal that kept them in line, as you like to say. And then they started doing something else with the next president, and you're saying it's their fault? When you ripped up the deal that was keeping them from doing what you're saying they're doing right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. But either way, though, that's neither here nor there. We got Sir Bean up in the building. Bean, what's word?
The bird is the word, cuz. How we doing?
I mean, so, damn, I said it in, so we doing good. You doing all right?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Doing good. But here you go. So far, I know we ain't got that far into this debate. What are your thoughts so far? Anything interesting stuck out to you so far?
Yeah, I watched it a couple times actually. I've played it a couple times today, and because I fell asleep in the beginning of it last night.
Well, so far,
I go keep back
so far?
Well, this right here, like this whole pointing the finger on the Iran thing. You know, both parties, both have done. What was that term he used? Not frolic. What did he say about
fraudulent?
Nah, that term he used about Trump just now.
Oh, about Trump.
Fickle.
Flattery. He called it
both, both sides have been fickle when it came to Iran. Nobody wants those guys to have a nuclear bomb, point blank, period, man. They tried to stop that back before with the first Bush, man. So, I don't know, man. This is a waste of time to me, honestly, because they're vice presidents, and unless something happens to the president, you're not going to hear from them. Or if you do hear from them, it's for like little meetings, like G8 summits and stuff like that. But you know as well as I know, here in the last 8 years, last 12 years, the vice president hasn't set foot and stepped forward to do anything for real. I mean, you got your boy that sold out Trump, and then you got, this
we're talking about
right
Pence.
here. Yeah,
talking about Pence, fly on the head, Pence. I ain't got you.
Yeah, more like fly on the wall, because that's what it was. And the same thing.
I'm talking about that fly that flew on him during his. Remember when they had the vice president debate?
Oh yeah,
he had a fly that flew on him. He didn't know it was there. But keep going. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, but stuff like that, man. It's like it's too much going on out here, man. Like these people, you know, they're being fickle, I guess you could say, in general. I mean, it's like everybody's like distracted right now with this debate, but it's like, man, there are more pressing issues going on right now. Like, how about like the labor strike? You know what I'm saying? Nobody talked about that last night.
Oh, they go. Well, hell, actually, they
They
supposed to get.
they breezed over it, but they didn't really.
There you go. No. Don't ruin it for the people because I
Oh,
haven't watched it either. I haven't watched
okay,
it. Nobody else watched it. So we're doing a full live reaction of it. But I do want
okay.
to point to one of your points because you said something very important. The vice president doesn't really do shit, right?
No, he doesn't. He or she,
So,
quote unquote, doesn't.
yeah, he or she. Look. Donald Trump even said it out of his own mouth before. Look, don't worry about JD Vance. You're voting for me, and I agree with him on that. I 100% agree with him on this. But this is one point that I tried to say a little bit earlier. This is why I think the Democrats are dumb and the Republicans are playing with people because they know they're dumb. JD Vance said that under all these problems that we're mentioning so far, at least with Iran and what's going on over there in the Middle East, happened underneath Kamala Harris's watch. We both agree. Vice presidents don't do shit. The buck stops with the president, the vice president. But the dummies on the Democrat side, Mr. Tim Walsh right here, tried to agree saying, yeah, her policies are why we are where we are right now. Your girl ain't did nothing, man. So she can't take the blame that's coming from on the right, and you can't take credit for shit on the left. She's the vice president. She doesn't do anything. She's just there just in case the president's incapacitated or can't run, kind of like what we're having right now. That's what they're there for. They're not there to set
They're
policies.
talking about he's about to step down early anyway. There's rumors.
Yeah,
he's
look,
not
the
feeling
entire
well.
party was pushing. The entire party was pushing for him to step down.
Yeah. I mean, and you haven't heard from this guy. You have not heard from this guy. And we did hear from him the other day in regards to the storm, and he basically told us all to fuck off because he said he's done everything he can do.
Man, what did you hear?
He said that on national TV.
I'm saying, what did you? I'm about to say because I listened to his speech. I'm like, where would he say that at?
He said we've sent the money. We've done all we can do. And there are dead bodies floating around in North Carolina right now.
Right, I must have missed that part. I must have missed that part, y'all. But I'll double
You didn't
check on
catch
that.
that part
I'll
of the
double check on
speech?
that.
Yeah, go back and check on that. Where
I'll
they
definitely double check it.
before
But
it was his first announcement, not the formal one he did where he got on TV. It was the one where
we don't get sidetracked. We don't get sidetracked. Back to them. Back to
we
them.
talk
'Cause
about
we
the
can go
dumb
down-
Democrats.
Yeah, we can go down a long rabbit hole on. We go down a long rabbit hole on a whole bunch of other shit, especially when it comes to politics. But to that point that you had made
Drugs.
before, say it again.
I said Democrats also support drugs.
Yeah, I think-
Illicit use. Like in Seattle. Open air drug markets.
What do you mean?
Open air drug markets. They have that there in Seattle. It's a safe state. It's a safe. It's a blue state one, but it's a drug haven. And then they also have less
I
harsh.
said, what do you
crime
mean by
sentences.
drug haven?
It's a drug haven. There are open air drug markets there. You can go buy heroin in the middle of the street in certain places there. You can go buy cocaine in certain places there in the middle of the street. You can go get clean needles from clinics there. They have all that.
Is that bad?
Hell yeah, that's bad.
Tell me why.
Have you ever been to Philadelphia?
No, never Philly. But tell me why. Because the reason I'm asking, I don't know if you know, but I know a few people that watch this show. I'm for legalizing all drugs.
Yeah, I'm not for that. I've seen what it can do.
I'm saying, tell me why though. Tell me why shouldn't drugs be legal?
Well, certain drugs should be legal, but certain drugs should not, and it depends on what you classify as a drug. You know, something medicinal, herbal presence, THC, mushrooms, you know, psychedelics, things like that. That's fine. All that stuff grows out of cow shit, not of dirt. I'm talking about stuff you gotta mix up and that could potentially kill somebody. Like fentanyl or
Alcohol?
heroin or no
Alcohol
well,
or
I mean,
tobacco?
alcohol is not a drug. I mean,
It's a drug. It's a drug.
This is what you classify it as.
See, that's
It's
where
a
you run into
spirit.
the problem.
Alcohol
That's
is
why
a
I was
spirit.
that's why I was trying to get you to talk a little bit more on it. It comes down to who's the perspective that you're speaking from. That's why I say legalize all of it and not pick and choose what can and what can't be.
Well,
Because remember,
I've seen it destroy families. I've seen
yeah,
meth addicts. I've seen heroin addicts. I've seen crackheads. I've seen,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I come from a place where it might not have been in my house, but if you go 2 doors down, you know, Johnny's dad is running out the back door with his VCR and PlayStation, you know what I'm saying, and trying to sell it to
mm-hmm.
you, and he telling you not to tell his son, but he gonna sell it to you for $20. That kind of scenario, man. Like
Oh,
what
I seen
JD
that.
Vance went through, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I can relate with him. Like he came from a broken home. He understands. I mean, I'm not perfect. I came from a broken home. You know what I'm saying? An institutionalized situation as well. So I can relate with that. On pulling your
Yeah,
bootstraps up, you know, making the American dream. But unfortunately, for somebody like me, the American dream does not exist.
yeah, but to the
Doesn't.
drugs though.
But
To
to
the
the
drugs.
drugs, yeah, no, I don't support, you know, hard drugs. No, I don't condone the use of hard drugs. Anything that can make you strung out, anything that can make you forget who you are, who your family is, make you give up your children, make you give up your life. I don't condone people
I got
that
you. Look,
disappear for 10 years, you know, and then pop back up.
yeah, I got you on that. I want to actually mark that one down because I actually want to come back and talk about that. I want to come back and talk about that one because that's actually an interesting topic. Legal or not? Let's see, legal or not. So I remember what the hell. All right, we're gonna come back to that. I'm playing a little bit more of the video to get through some of them because we're gonna speed through this thing tonight. Matter of fact, actually, I can speed this up a little bit. No bullshit. Put it on 125 because you can still understand them. Well, yeah, we're gonna come back to that topic, and anybody that wants to join in on the conversation, please do. We're gonna go back to hearing what they got to say, conversation, whatever the questions they ask, and then we're gonna keep stopping at each one of them. So, you ready to rock? I'm ready to rock. Let's rock. Rock out.
Man, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you. Let's turn now to Hurricane Helene. The storm could become one of the deadliest on record. More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing. Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger, stronger, and more deadly because of the historic rainfall. Senator Vance, according to CBS News polling, 7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change. Senator, what responsibility would the Trump administration have to try and reduce the impact of climate change? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Sure. So first of all, let's start with the hurricane because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I just saw today actually a photograph of 2 grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible. And then, of course, afterwards to help the people in those communities rebuild. I mean, these are communities that I love. Some of them I know very personally in Appalachia, all across the Southeast. They need their government to do their job. And I commit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they suffer from a disaster. And Nora, you asked about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. Look, a lot of people are justifiably worried about all these crazy weather patterns. I think it's important for us, first of all, to say Donald Trump and I support clean air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talking a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions, this idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. But let's just say that's true, just for the sake of argument, so we're not arguing about weird science. Let's just say that's true. Well, if you believe that, what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible, and you'd want to produce as much energy as possible in the United States of America because we're the cleanest economy in the entire world. What have Kamala Harris's policies actually led to? More energy production in China, more manufacturing overseas, more doing business in some of the dirtiest parts of the entire world. And when I say that, I mean the amount of carbon emissions they're doing per unit of economic output. So if we actually care about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do is to double down and invest in American workers and the American people. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris has done exactly the opposite.
Governor Walz.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm gonna give them props, y'all. They actually following the rules and doing it pretty good. So, Bean, any thoughts on what JD Vance just said right there?
Yeah, he's basically hinting on to what I was just talking about a few moments ago when the president, his initial statement was, "We sent him money. What else do you want from us?" He literally said that, and that's when they went forward and they were speaking on having him go ahead and step down. But also, man, I'm all for America first, man. It shouldn't money shouldn't be going anywhere else right now, but right here. Between Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina. I mean, all that stuff's gone, man. Destroyed. The concrete might still be there, but anything wood and most of those structures, bro, they're gone. It's Katrina times 10.
You think it's that bad?
I know it's that bad. Have you not been paying attention? Where I used to live, bro, my whole neighborhood's gone. Indian Rocks Beach, Bel Air Bluffs, Clearwater, Florida, Siesta Key, Sarasota. All that stuff used to be on one drive, one drag, man. Like you could drive to every one of those beaches.
Now the reason I said that you think it's worse than Hurricane Katrina, because we know how many people have passed because of this storm. That's why I'm asking. Like it's matter of fact, I think the question I should ask: how is it worse than Katrina?
Because in this storm right here, these people they didn't know what was happening, man. They got told at the last minute to evacuate. That a lot of these dams blew up like in Katrina. The same thing happened in Katrina happened here. That they weren't ready for it. And those people don't have flood insurance because they live in the mountains. Mountains don't flood. You see what I'm saying? So this is a natural event that's never happened before. People haven't taken into consideration what's going on. Like this is an event that's unprecedented. Now, what happened in Katrina? A lot of the people that died from that was from their own infliction after the storm. The looting, the rioting, the murdering. What happened in the New Orleans Superdome? A lot of that stuff that was going on in the shelters. And I'm pretty sure that stuff is going on right now because they have 18 wheelers and truck drivers who are getting their trucks slashed. Their tires are getting slashed and destroyed right now at truck stops. The same drivers that are delivering the humanitarian aid in North Carolina, South Carolina, there are people out there destroying their stuff, trying to stop them from helping people. I don't know what side they're on or who these people are, but you can go and you can look it up. It's real.
See, I'm confused. I don't want to beat that one down. I don't want to beat that one down, but I'm confused about that one because I think they said like less than 200 people have died, and I understand that. Yes, this is a part. In my honest opinion, this is a part of global warming, climate change.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the difference. Like I said, that's the difference between Katrina and this storm. This storm actually physically killed people. In Katrina, it was actually people that were killing each other. And then, like I said, the bad thing about this storm is those people live in Appalachia, where some places don't even have power or internet to this day. So there was no warning for those people. And all of a sudden, there was a mudslide. Cliffs, whole roads are gone. Mountain slides have washed out whole roads. I-40 is gone. The whole interstate, it got swept underwater. You can look this up. All this is on the news right now.
I got all that. I got all that. Like I know it was bad for people, and this comes from us ignoring what we're actually doing. But way more people died in Katrina than what happened in this storm. These people actually had a warning. They had a warning, and just like Katrina, people had a warning too. A lot of the structures that we have set up federally did not actually help with preventing the call, like it getting as bad as it got. But more people died initially in Katrina than this. Way more.
They haven't even taken into consideration the exact death tolls. There are places right now.
I'm talking about initially. I'm not talking about total. Because if you want,
we don't have a total. We don't have any the official numbers yet, man. They're still finding people.
That's fine.
They don't have enough resources right now. They're sending out calls right now to different police departments for volunteers to go help pull people out of houses, like in Katrina.
Well, here, check this. Let's say they said it was 160 something people. Let's say 175 people passed away right now. What do you think that number total would get to?
I'm thinking we're probably in at least 400 or 500 between
About
medical
400 or 500?
issues, between the people. Prime example, the people on dialysis right now who don't have enough fluid and solution. The people who need respirators, the people who need insulin, the people who need their lifeline insulin and stuff in people right now.
They actually need life-saving medicine that if they don't get it, they'll pass. I got you. Yeah, exactly. So you say about what, 500? 600?
Yeah, I'd say about 500-600 between the people. Like the prime example, like the lady that called 911. It took the ambulance got stranded. They were talking about this on the news, how the ambulance drivers got stranded on the way to get her. They finally got unstranded. They got to her. They put her in the van, and the van ended up getting swept down the river, or the ambulance, and she ended up dying in the back of the ambulance. Like they ended up surviving, but the lady they went to initially save, she died. She was dead regardless. She died regardless. You know.
So about 500, 600, right?
Yeah.
You would think. Well, you know, Katrina had over almost 14,000, or 1,400.
I mean, that's like I said, a lot of those things that happen was from self-infliction. You got to look at.
No. I'm talking about just from the things that you just spoke on. The initial death toll.
Yeah, but see, in Katrina, they're still making movies. They got movies about like what people were doing during Katrina, like robbing and.
No, I got you on that. I'm not accounting for that. I'm not accounting for that because they actually have a death toll for like all the deaths during that time. I'm just going off of people that passed away or got deleted from effects of the storm or the storm. 1,300. My bad. Not 13,000, y'all. Got to correct that. 1,300. Over 1,300. So I'm like, it's not as bad as Katrina when it comes to the death toll.
I mean, we don't have the numbers yet. We don't have the numbers yet.
Well, that's why I asked you. I asked you how many you think it would get up to, and you said 600. And
I mean, I probably say that. The news has already said this is the top. This is one of the top 3 worst storms in U.S. history. You know, and then with the death toll, they already said it's in the top 3. So it's going. Like it ain't over. Like. The dams are still flooded. There's one dam that they're expecting to break tonight, actually. And they got those people. They're trying to get those people to leave now. That's in North Carolina.
Look, and we praying for all them people up there. Well, I'm not actually praying for y'all up there. Look, man, y'all got to get through it. But look, man, I feel for you. We got Miss Alexis from Texas said, "Yo, what's up, Miss Girl?" I'm sorry, Miss Girl, Miss Lady. I'm sorry, Miss Lady.
That's the Raiders fan, correct?
Yeah, I gotta put her. Nah, she's a Chiefs fan. She's a Chiefs fan.
Chiefs fan, that's what it is.
Yeah. Alexis, if you want to join it, you can. Look, we gonna keep moving because we keep getting sidetracked with our little sidebars. Look, I'm gonna play Tim Walsh's response to JD Vance. Let's see what he got.
Walls, you have 2 minutes to respond.
Well, we got close to an agreement because all those things are happening. Look, first of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane. And my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors as we work together on these emergency managements. Governors, no partisanship. They work together so all of the governors and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. The federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to that we recover, but we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying focused. Now, look, coming back to the climate change issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in. What we've seen out of the Harris administration now, the Biden-Harris administration, is we've seen this investment. We've seen massive investments, the biggest in global history that we've seen in the Inflation Reduction Act, has created jobs all across the country. 2,000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio, taking the EV technology that we invented and making it here. 200,000 jobs across the country. The largest solar manufacturing plant in North America sits in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real. They've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy. So the solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country. That's exactly what this administration has done. We are seeing us becoming an energy superpower for the future, not just the current. And that's what absolutely makes sense. And then we start thinking about how do we mitigate these disasters?
Thank you. Senator, I want to give you an opportunity to respond there.
I mean, did you have anything back on that? Because I was going to let it ride if you didn't.
Let it ride, Clyde.
All right.
Governor mentioned that President Trump has called climate change a hoax. Do you agree?
Well, look, what the president has said is that if the Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris and her leadership, if they really believe that climate change is serious, what they would be doing is more manufacturing and more energy production in the United States of America, and that's not what they're doing. So clearly, Kamala Harris herself doesn't believe her own rhetoric on this. If she did, she would actually agree with Donald Trump's energy policies. Now, something Governor Walz said I think is important to touch upon, because when we talk about clean energy, I think that's a slogan that often the Democrats will use here. And I'm talking, of course, about the Democratic leadership. And the real issue is that if you're spending hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars of American taxpayer money on solar panels that are made in China, number one, you're going to make the economy dirtier. We should be making more of those solar panels here in the United States of America. Some of them are, Tim, but a lot of them are being made overseas in China, especially the components that go into those solar panels. So if you really want to make the environment cleaner, you've got to invest in more energy production. We haven't built a nuclear facility, I think, one in the past 40 years.
Senator.
Natural gas, we got to invest more in it. Kamala Harris has done the opposite. That's raised energy prices and also meant that we're doing
Senator,
worse by
your
the
time
climate.
is up. Governor, would you like to respond?
Well, look, we're producing more natural gas than we ever have. There's no moratorium on that. We're producing more oil. But folks know, and like I said again, these are not liberal folks. These are not folks that are Green New Deal folks. These are farmers that have been drought one year, massive flooding the next year. They understand that it makes sense. Look, our number one export cannot be topsoil from erosion from these massive storms. We saw it in Minnesota this summer. And thinking about how do we respond to that, we're thinking ahead on this. And what Kamala Harris has been able to do in Minnesota, we're starting to weatherproof some of these things. The infrastructure law that was passed allows us to think about mitigation in the future. How do we make sure that we're protecting by burying our power lines? How do we make sure that we're protecting lakefronts and things that we're seeing more and more of? But to call it a hoax and to take the oil company executives to Mar-a-Lago, say, give me money for my campaign and I'll let you do whatever you want. We can be smarter about that. And an all above energy policy is exactly what she's doing, creating those jobs right here.
Governor, your time is up.
Any thought? Because I don't think JD Vance actually addressed the question when it came to, did Donald Trump call climate change and global warming, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to use?
He called it a joke. He called it a hoax. That's what it was.
Yeah, he called it a hoax. Like, the question is, did he do that? And he went on to a whole bunch of other stuff. But Donald Trump did call the shit a hoax. He did invite those people down to Mar-a-Lago to give them free reign to just produce energy however the hell they wanted to with no restrictions. Like, that is true. So I'm like, what are your thoughts on JD Vance saying, like, we need to do this and we need to do that? Because I don't get that.
Well, he's trying to push basically, his boosters. When he's talking about natural gas, that's definitely somebody in their pocket. When he's talking about the actual infrastructure and staying away from these solar panels, I think solar is one of the worst things we could have ever invested our infrastructure in. Over solar and electric cars, I should say, because the carbon footprint behind these cars, I mean, that's producing more global warming right now than anything. I mean, have you seen what a lithium-ion battery does when it gets depleted?
Well, look, I've seen the production of the battery, period. I know, but that's one thing that I always, I kind of like try to forward think on it. We got to crack some eggs, right, to make an omelet. Well, the technology is not there right now. Like, you think the first car was a fit? No, I'm just saying, you think the first
generators to charge the Tesla? Gas generators?
Hey, look, I've seen that before. That was actually a pretty interesting YouTube fucking video when I saw it. But when the first combustion engine got started, you think it was efficient? And
no.
we're still.
No, we just created efficiency within the past 20 years.
Yeah, think about it. think about it. We're still even working to create that, make that more efficient than what it is right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge a technology right on the very beginning. But the only thing I would push back on, like the electric cars and solar panels, I don't really have a problem with. But electric cars is like the forced adoption of it before the technology is actually there. That would be my bigger issue. But the United States, to push back on JD Vance, the United States is actually producing more oil than ever. Like the most in the history ever of
No,
the
he's talking
United
about
States.
natural gas.
Yeah,
That's something that
natural
we
gas too.
just that's something we
Natural gas
just
too.
started drilling for here. The fracking. Kamala Harris wants to stop that. They just opened that back up, but she initially had the initial they shut that down along with the Keystone Pipeline.
Well, you know they've been drilling for gas more than ever
Yeah,
in the
they
history of the
opened it
United
back
States.
up. They
No, I'm
opened
talking
it
about
back
they've
up.
been doing it for. I'm saying they've been doing it for like the last 2.5 years.
Yeah. When the economy took the real big dive after COVID, when the gas did that last little bubble when it was like $8-9, that's when they decided to open back up our reserves. And gas has slowly come back down. But the closer you get to election, well, now that there's a natural disaster going on, gas is going to be up again. Plus, this ILA port strike. I mean, even though we produce our gas here in the U.S., some of those ports, like the Amali port in Port Tampa, those guys still work. ILA still works that port. They still load those trucks with fuel. So I get where they're coming at with the fuel shortage things. But
You know what I'm saying? But you get my point. Like he's saying that they don't want to, like not Tim Walsh, but JD Vance saying that we want more natural gas and all this stuff. And I'm like, the party that he's criticizing is actually doing that, and they've done it. They're doing it more than we've ever done it before.
well, yeah, we didn't do it before. Trump did that. I mean, Trump signed the Keystone Pipeline deal.
No, I'm saying Trump has never produced energy the way that they're producing energy right now.
I mean, it was his policy that created that for the infrastructure for those programs, because
And the
all that stuff
Democrats
was
came
up
in
and
stopped
going.
it.
Yeah, all that was up and going. Then they came in and shut it down, along with a couple other policies, because Biden and them wanted to stop it to make their presence be known. Then after that shit backfired, and people were like, "Oh shit, what are you doing?" Because I don't know if you remember or not, but all the videos of the oil reserve workers, every month there's some bullshit going on in this country with something. But when the workers were like, "Oh, I just bought a camper," "Oh, I just bought an F-350," or "I just bought an F-250," or "I just bought a $90,000 truck," Joe Biden's not gonna make my truck payment. They were saying all that stuff. Because they shut down that deal, man, that Keystone Pipeline deal. But there are a lot more other things that are getting fucked over right now. And it's an election year, so there are things going on right now. Prime example with United Healthcare in certain hospitals. United Healthcare has basically said that we will pay certain bills, but we're not going to pay other bills after we agree to pay to it. Certain hospitals are like, we're not going to foot this anymore. You get your shit and get the fuck on. And you take your patients with you.
Well, here, let me show you something.
Yeah.
This is a graph of the U.S. oil and gas production, and you see the years at the bottom. You can see the amount on the side, and we have multiple graphs to kind of show over the years. Look at the years. It's 2020 right there. It was a down year. We dropped from 2018 to 2020. We dropped, and ever since then we've been going up. What year was Donald Trump the president?
What year did they sign? Did the petrodollar die?
I just want you to look at the graph. Look at the graph.
What year did the petrodollar die? That's where you see that boost. When they said the American dollar.
When did the petrodollar die? I don't know.
According to that chart right there. According to that chart right there, to tell you.
I don't know that term.
Well, look it up. the petrodollar.
Right here. All I'm saying is off of this chart right here is showing 2018, and it's pretty much 19, which you can just say COVID. Oil prices.
No,
oil production and
COVID didn't
gas
start till
production.
2020. I got married in 2019. Bro.
All right, well,
The
in
world shut down
2020,
in
it was
2020.
okay. If that makes it even worse. If it was in 2020, then that means our production went down before COVID even hit, because it started going.
People started getting
It
sick in 2019, but they didn't know of a real virus until March of 2020. That's when the whole world stopped.
all right. Well, here, check it. It peaked in 2019. Oil production for the United States. Trump was president. Then it dipped, and then we got to 2020. Who became the president in 2020, 2021?
Creepy Joe.
And now we're starting to go back up. You can look at every chart to show that it's going up. It's higher than it's ever been. This chart right here talks about total well production rate brackets. But every chart that you're looking at, it shows production going up, and up some more. So that kind of spits in the face of what JD Vance is saying when it comes to, well, we're going to produce more. They're producing more than you ever did right now. That doesn't make sense. Does that make that? Tell me if that makes sense to you, because that don't make sense to me. He's like, oh, we're gonna produce more because their policies are shutting it down. It's like, bro, they producing more than when your buddy was in office. How does that make sense?
He's gonna save us all.
Jesus Christ. Shout out to my boy Hurricane up in the building. Salute. Look, we're gonna play the video a little bit more, man. We get sidetracked too much.
The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate. Margaret?
Thank you, Nora. We're going to turn now to immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border consistently ranks as one of the top for American voters. Senator Vance, your campaign is pledging to carry out the largest mass deportation plan in American history and to use the U.S. military to do so. Could you be more specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S. illegally and separate them from any of their children who were born on U.S. soil? You have 2 minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies. 94 executive orders suspending deportations, decriminalizing illegal aliens, massively increasing the asylum fraud that exists in our system. That has opened the floodgates. And what it's meant is that a lot of fentanyl is coming into our country. I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations. And that gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually do? So we've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the first thing that we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on those folks. And then I think you make it harder for illegal aliens to undercut the wages of American workers. A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work. And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border. And I'd ask my fellow Americans to remember when she came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what? I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that. It would be good for all of us.
Governor, do you care to respond to any of the specific allegations, including that the vice president is, quote, letting in fentanyl and using kids as drug mules, among other things regarding children?
The drug mule is not true, but I will say about this, about the fentanyl, because this is a crisis of this, the opioid crisis. And the good news on this is the last 12 months saw the largest decrease in opioid deaths in our nation's history, 30% decrease in Ohio, but there's still more work to do. But let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the attorney general of the largest state, a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions. But look, we all want to solve this. Most of us want to solve this. And that is the United States Congress. That's the Border Patrol agents. That's the Chamber of Commerce. That's most Americans out here. That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that this nation's seen. It was crafted by a conservative senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle, wants to get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there. 1,500 new border agents, detection for drugs, DOJ money to speed up the adjudications on this, just what America wants. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no. Told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue. It gives him what would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things? And they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are again, 9 years after he came down that escalator, dehumanizing people and telling him what he was going to do. As far as a deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable. So that's where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up.
All right, let them both speak on that one. Bean, any thoughts? Because I got a few on this one.
Well, yeah, I got a couple of thoughts on that when it comes to immigration. I know people personally who've been here and paid taxes for 20, 25 plus years, some 30. One of my old employees, he was a great guy, man. He was from Cuba. He was a refugee. Him and his family came over back in the 70s. He washed cars until 2023, when he retired. He got his green card for his retirement, man. That was his gift, basically, man. But he paid taxes. Damn near longer than most people. And he did it the right way, man. He became a citizen, I mean, we partied with him and everything, but that's not a case for everybody. I know some people who've been waiting 40, 50 years for their citizenship, man. They've done everything the right way, man. They're still stuck. Certain people, certain policies have helped them. They're great people, man. But they're here off of DACA. They're here off of K-1 visas. They're here off of just different allotments that allow them to be here. And some of these people are greater than some of the people that were born here, So I can't really say kick everybody out or everybody illegal immigrants, this, that, the third, and the other. No, I can't say that. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, save the people that's eating dogs and all that other shit, because I can't say that that's true either. But what I can say is, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And there are certain people who have done the right thing the entire time here, and they're still getting the wrong end of the stick. You got other people who've done things illegally, know somebody, paid the right person, and you have a political connection, a cousin somewhere, and they become citizens or getting a political asylum within their first 90 days of being here. So it's a case-by-case scenario.
All right, I ain't gonna hold you on that. One thing that stuck out to me with this little interaction back and forth, there was an immigration bill that was on the table that could have gave a lot of the concerns that at least the politicians say that Americans have. There was a bill that was on the table that would have helped out on a lot of those concerns. Wouldn't have solved it 100%. We know that for a fact. Nothing that they can legislate is going to fix the problem 100%. But there was a bill, a policy on the table to actually quell some of these worries that a lot of Americans had. And Donald Trump told them to kill that bill. That's the issue that I have. If immigration is so much of a problem, especially illegal immigration, so much of a problem for a group that's standing on the right that says they're the ones that's going to fix it, when you had the opportunity to fix it, you didn't.
You got to look at it like this, man. Every election, somebody gets offended. Somebody's disrespected. You can take that all the way back to with George Bush and or Clinton, Bill Clinton. We'll use him as an example. With Bill Clinton, man, the people who were offended walked around with their heads down were white men, right? When George Bush was elected president, the people who walked around with their heads down were Middle Eastern people. When Obama was elected president, who walked around with their heads down? It was black people. When Trump got elected, who walked around? Most people with their heads down? Mexicans. Now, that this whole election is coming back again, who's been disrespected? Haitians. So every election, somebody gets disrespected, and somebody has to walk around with their heads down. So,
well, I'm not worried about nobody getting disrespected. I'm saying I'll try to form this in a different way. If immigration was an issue that you wanted to solve as an American citizen, and you had to pick between two different people for fixing it, one person actually had the opportunity to fix it and said, nope, I'm not fixing that. And another person's just coming in with ideas. Who would you be more likely to lean to?
the guy that said, nope, I'm not fixing that.
Man, hey, I ain't gonna hold you on it. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we got.
No,
Senator, the question was, will you separate parents from their children, even if their kids are U.S. citizens? You have 1 minute.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules, and it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president
Senator,
again.
your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%, support mass deportations?
Look, we fixed this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this. And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor said, it's not true. Don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield were the governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school. I believe Senator Vance wants to solve this, but by standing with Donald Trump and not working together to find a solution, it becomes a talking point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question first. The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border more than our border czar, Kamala Harris, has been, and it's actually heartbreaking because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional resources would help, but most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country, you've got schools that are overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You've got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim. And I actually think, I agree with you. I think you want to solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does.
Senator, your time is.
It's amazing to me that a person that actually repeated a lie put on Twitter by some random guy is sitting over here talking about he cares about the people. 38 bomb threats after Donald Trump got up on stage and said that they're eating your cats and your dogs. 38 bomb threats
now?
from American citizens. 38 bomb threats
Who
from
made
American
38?
citizens. Republicans in Springfield. After Donald Trump got up there and said
Donald Trump didn't say that.
Donald
JD
Trump
Vance,
did.
JD Vance
No,
is the one that initiated that.
but
Trump
Donald
said
Trump
it during the debate.
Exactly. Donald Trump, after he said it during that debate that they're eating your cats, they're eating your dogs, you had 38 bomb threats by Americans. you had 38 bomb threats by American citizens that clearly align with the right, trying to threaten and scare their own city because they believe the lie that this man running for president told them.
Man, you think Springfield's the only place that's happening? That shit made the hometown news, man. It's happening in Hartford, Alabama, Geneva, Alabama. But see, what those people don't understand is those aren't people that's like straight off the boat. Those people been in Miami. Those people are harder.
I gotta ask a question. So you still believe that these people are eating cats and dogs?
Here in America, no. But in their homeland, yeah.
What then? Think about what you just said. Then, what was the point of him saying as a presidential candidate, a former president?
Because these motherfuckers are eating cats and dogs in certain places. But they've been doing that shit, bro. They've been doing that, bro. Everybody's always said, what does people always said about General Child's chicken?
Oh my,
you know that shit.
Think about this in America. They're eating cats and dogs in America.
That shit didn't come from nowhere.
No,
that stereotype has been around for damn near 50 years, and you know
I'm asking a very specific question.
In America,
are they eating cats and dogs in America?
Well, the cat population has
Jesus Christ. Y'all are getting a little bit you're getting a good diametrics of clearly somebody that's, I don't know what I can claim myself to be. I don't know. Look, I just push back on whatever the fuck that I think is crazy. And then I got my boy B that's he's a little conservative. A little bit. I ain't saying he's conservative. Just a little bit. Just a little.
But registering some card at.
I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna matter. But there's no
political party. What it say? None.
Let's see. Hurricane said, "We eating humans in America in some soylent green."
Yeah, you haven't been to a taco truck, man. You made plenty of people.
I think that's to go against your. I think that's to go against your point. Look, it's pretty dangerous for a presidential candidate, a former president, to say that a group of people in a town are eating your cats and dogs, and then we can't sit here and say that didn't mean anything. That
the city manager didn't agree to it, but if you go back and look on TikTok and several other YouTubes, there are people that are agreeing that therefore I'm not stopping. I went and researched it because I'm not one to just sit there and believe everything I fucking hear.
You getting your information off of TikTok?
You get your information off of YouTube.
That is not. I get my information from the world. Period. I don't.
Where's this video coming from? Where's this video coming from?
This video is on YouTube.
Okay, there was my point exactly, bitch.
That don't prove a point.
It just did.
It didn't prove a point. I think.
Where did this video come from?
I can find this video anywhere. It's the vice presidential debate. I just grabbed it off of YouTube because it's easier. It's easier to access this thing and use it. But when it comes down to it, the dangerous part that we're not paying attention to is you had a former president make a statement that was false. And you had 38 bomb threats by the same people that support him because they wanted to tell their town they not gonna have these Haitians here. We gotta really pay attention to how dangerous that is.
So they call 38 stores?
Dude, they were evacuating the schools almost on a daily.
But that was going on everywhere. That happened in your hometown.
No, it was not.
Yeah, it was.
We gotta stop equating different situations.
The first week of school, there was like 7 mass shootings. What are you talking about?
In Springfield, Ohio, or wherever the fuck Springfield is. I can't remember what Springfield is.
There's Jamaicans and Haitians. But no, Jamaicans don't eat dogs. But I can't speak on Haitians, bro. Because I know people who have been active duty, who are in the Coast Guard, and several other branches, who've been overseas and who've been to those markets and they've seen what they've seen.
That's fine and dandy. The problem is we can say what other people do in other countries. The problem is what we have to say about the people that are actually in this country. And you had somebody that's running for the president of the United States of America, and he lied on a group of people which caused Americans to turn into terrorists. That's a problem. I don't understand how
ain't nobody called them people no terrorists.
No, I'm calling them that. If you call it a bomb threat because you're mad that Haitians are in your city, that's a terrorist.
No,
What is
they weren't
terrorism?
mad because they were in the city. They've been in their city. They were mad because
No.
they were eating their fucking dogs.
And they weren't eating them dogs.
What were they doing? Snacking on them?
See, this is the funny thing. What evidence do you have to prove that they did? Any charges for anybody that ate a dog? Any report that somebody ate a dog from the news?
I believe I sent you. Yeah, I sent you a video of that lady with the fucking blood on it and the fur on her mouth. The dude was like,
first off,
he's like, "Man, did you eat that fucking cat?"
I want you to really understand like how I do this social media shit. Anybody can put a title on anything. First off, that video that you sent me didn't even say Springfield. It was just a video that somebody just randomly put on the fucking internet. You don't know where it was filmed at. You don't.
It
you
was
don't know
out
when
Springfield, Ohio. I pulled the video up.
I don't have that video, and I'm definitely not showing that video on here.
Send your messages. Pull it up. I know you got it.
I'm not sure.
I'm looking at it right now.
That's fine. I'm not showing that video on the stream. We have regulations that you can't do on YouTube. You can't do certain things on here. But
They don't show blood or gore. They just show the blood of the cat on her face.
it's fine, Danny. There's nothing in that video that shows that happened in Springfield. Nothing. But either way, let me read some of these comments because we getting sidetracked. And see, Red said they do eat them. It's a delicacy. Multiple police reports and videos carrying geese out of the park. Red, I would need you to show that to me because I actually looked for that stuff and found nothing. And the mayor said there's nothing. But either way, Red also said, how you know who called the threats? Clearly, you know who called the threats. And then also, Red said the phone calls were from overseas. And then Hurricane said, what's up to Red? Let's keep going, man, because we're getting sidetracked too much because Bean's saying crazy shit.
Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, well, it is law enforcement that asked for the bill. They helped craft it. They're the ones that supported it. That's because they know we need to do this. Look, this issue of continuing to bring this up, of not dealing with it, of blaming migrants for everything. On housing, we could talk a little bit about Wall Street speculators buying up housing and making them less affordable, but it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also gives the money necessary to adjudicate. I agree. It should not take 7 years for an asylum claim to be done. This bill gets it done in 90 days. Then you start to make a difference in this and you start to adhere to what we know, American principles. Look, I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew 25:40 talks about to the least amongst us, you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans. They simply want order to it. This bill does it. It's funded. It's supported by the people who do it. And it lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other people.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Temporary protected.
We're going to turn out of the economy. Thank you.
Margaret, the rules were that
That means legal, Bean. That means legal. They're not over here illegal.
Temporary.
It can be temporary all day. It's still legal. That's still legal. They weren't invading their shit. They're legal.
fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand.
And they got maps and
coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years.
Thank you,
the
Senator.
Facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal process. We have so much to
And when
get
he
to,
started
Senator.
speaking the truth, they shut him up.
No, actually, when he started speaking, they were moving on to the next topic, and he wanted to interject while they were doing that.
No, I ain't give him a chance.
No, literally, we can go back and watch it. They ended. They let Tim Walsh. We seen the way the rules were set from the very beginning. They said you can say what you want to say. He can respond. He responded. Actually, matter of fact, he said Tim Walsh said what he wanted to say in the beginning. Then JD Vance responded. Then Tim Walsh responded back to him, and it was like, "Yeah, we're gonna let you say something real quick, and then we're gonna go." They were trying to
who won this debate.
This is terrible, man. He got to stop being so biased. But either way, though, I'm gonna let it ride because I'm willing to call out both sides if they do some fucked up shit. But come on now, the dude literally just broke the rules, and they cut him off for breaking the rules. We're gonna watch it again.
You know that Drew Barrymore motherfucker won.
No, we're not.
You know that Drew Barrymore looking motherfucker won that debate.
We're not finna change the subject. We're gonna show that point because you saying they cut him off. Let's see.
Crazy Eyes. You know Crazy Eyes won.
Treat other people.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well,
Nora?
but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important because
I was doing some interrupting. They're trying to move the debate along. He wanted to jump in and say something. They didn't cut him off because he was trying to like say something that was going to be profound that an American public needed to hear. He wasn't. They were moving on to the next subject because they're following the rules of the debate, and everybody's doing well so far to right now. But if we get to this point where it's like, no, we're going to tell him to stop talking, they're cutting him off. No, that's the victim. Actually, well, the bully trying to play the victim. But they let him speak. Watch it.
Out of the economy, thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys were
economy-
going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank you, Senator, for describing the legal process. We have so much to get to, Senator. We have so much.
They let him get it all out, too. They let him get it all out. I don't see how they cut him off or did anything where he was the one who was breaking the process of what they got going on right now. And we need to have order. We always talk about law and order, right? We need to have law and order. Law don't really apply right now. We need to have order. You're going outside of the scope of this event that we're trying to do right now. They're trying to keep it back on track. I don't get that. I don't get that. JD Vance is not a victim in that. He's actually the aggressor. But shout out to Red. I see Red in there saying, no, they fact checked him and didn't let him finish. He cut them off while they were trying to move their show along.
He didn't let him finish.
They did kind of let him finish pretty much. They let him talk for probably like 45 seconds. Dude, we got to understand that when they're running these national shows, they're on a time restriction for each time in between commercials. That the commercials pay for these networks to be up. Like, dude, you're fucking the time up. We're not going to be able to get to every topic because you want to come in and interject something because you feel a certain type of way. That's not cutting nobody off. That's somebody that's running as a vice president, can't control his emotions in the moment. That's what's going on right now. Like we gotta see things.
I thought he was very civil, very respectful.
No, it doesn't matter. You can have somebody slap you in the face and say it nicely. That doesn't mean what they're doing is not
slap
wrong.
me in my face, I'm gonna break your motherfucking hand.
Exactly. So guess what? She was trying to move her show along because he was breaking the rules.
It ain't her show. My tax dollars paying for this.
Your tax dollars paid for CBS?
My tax dollars.
Your tax dollars didn't pay for CBS to do a presidential debate.
Do you know what CBS stands for?
Tell me.
Central Broadcasting Station.
And who owns it?
We do as the public. That's why it's a public free channel.
No, we don't own that shit as a public.
Why do you think you can turn to it and it's free? You don't even have to have a cable channel to watch fucking ABC.
It's one of the father networks that's been on cable since cable was a thing. That's why. They've already been into that system from the very beginning. That's not a government owned.
That's CBS. That's why CBS isn't free.
CBS is free.
We're talking about ABC.
No, we're talking about CBS.
We're talking about ABC.
No, this is CBS.
Man, we just said ABC.
You said ABC.
No, you just said CBS.
It is CBS.
But I said ABC.
It's not ABC who runs this. I'm telling you.
American Broadcasting Center.
That's not who's doing this debate.
It's CBS.
It's CBS. Yeah, CBS.
Yeah, but I was telling you, that's what I said. ABC is the one that's free.
Yeah, but you said that your tax dollars pay for this. Your tax dollars don't pay for this.
My tax dollars pay for the dinner.
Jesus Christ. What the fuck is going on tonight? Look, we're going to keep playing the video, man.
Since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We want to have... app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get to. Thank you for explaining the legal process. Nora.
Thank you, Margaret. The economy is a top concern for voters. Each of your campaigns has released an economic plan. So let's talk about the specifics. Governor Walz, Vice President Harris unveiled a plan that includes billions in tax credits for manufacturing, housing, and a renewed child tax credit. The Wharton School says your proposals will increase the nation's deficit by $1.2 trillion. How would you pay for that without ballooning the deficit? Governor, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And Kamala Harris and I do believe in the middle class because that's where we come from. We both grew up in that. We understand. So those of you out there listening tonight, you're hearing a lot of stuff back and forth, and it's good. It's healthy. That's what this is supposed to happen. You should be listening.
The middle class is non-existent right now. So unless they're going to bring it back, I don't know who they talking to.
How's this going to impact me? The bold forward plan that Kamala Harris put out there is talking about this housing issue. The one thing is there's 3 million new houses proposed under this plan with down payment assistance on the front end to get you in a house. A house is much more
where they going to build
an asset to be traded somewhere. It's foundational to where you're at.
Where they going to build?
Making sure that the things you buy every day, whether
we got land everywhere to build houses, man.
No, the fuck we don't.
We got a shit ton of land that we don't use to build houses.
Yeah, federal land. But guess who that land?
No. I'm talking about public land. We got a shit ton of public land that we can build houses on.
Federal.
It's privately owned. We got a shit ton of land that the United States could build houses on. Like, we're not even gonna play that game. They got shit ton.
Where?
If you really wanted to, you can take your ass to the Midwest. That's the least populated area in the entire United States of America. We got thousands of acres.
You talking about the
land.
nuclear sponge? Why the fuck would I go live on the nuclear sponge?
Why would you go live anywhere?
What do you mean?
Jobs and opportunity. If they had homes there, look, we got places in Alabama, we got places in Florida.
The nuclear sponge. The Midwest is the nuclear sponge.
That's neither here nor there. We have plenty of areas in
your
the United States
likelihood of being blown the fuck off the place of the earth. Yeah, you move out there, you want to.
When has that ever happened?
Nobody's ever attacked anything on American soil.
Exactly, not never. So like stop. We gotta stop doing that shit. We say saying shit to say shit. There's plenty of land in the United States to build houses. That's why BlackRock and all these other multi-billion-dollar, I forget what they want to call themselves as a company.
If that was the case, then they would build everybody a fucking house for free, and then there wouldn't be fucking mortgages.
No. We're talking about land for the ability to put homes on it, not to get people a home.
That's what they're trying to do.
No, we have.
That's what the Democrats are trying to do. That's what the Democrats are trying to do.
What are you talking about?
They want to give people $50,000 to go build a new house.
But that would be nice if the American government did that. To be honest, see, Red said public land. That means the government owns it. 40% of all American land mass.
You're fucking right.
There's a shit ton of land in America that the public owns, and I don't know why he even tried to say public land is government land. I'm not even saying it like that. Privately owned. Hurricane said there's plenty of land in the United States. There's plenty of
federal public land.
There's plenty of land in the United States, but the military took it for military exercises, allegedly. And then Red came back and said, there are too many empty homes owned by BlackRock and the banks. We don't need more land, just cheaper rent. I agree with that too. But we have land to build homes. That's the point. That everywhere.
Where? Not these nuclear training facilities. You want to know why? Because a lot of these national forests are bombing sites, but people don't even know that.
You stay in Florida, right?
I do.
There's no areas in Florida that has land that's not a nuclear bomb site that they could build homes on?
I didn't say nuclear bomb. It could be a testing bomb.
Okay, testing bomb. There's no land in Florida where they couldn't build a house where there's none of that going on?
Shit. About 30 miles from here, there's a fucking special forces, an entire special forces.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, man.
We're going to keep playing this video. Being you are irritating the shit out of me right now.
Whether they be prescription drugs or other things, that there's fairness in that. Look, the $35 insulin is a good thing, but it costs $5 to make insulin. They were charging $800 before this law went into effect. As far as the housing goes, I've seen it in Minnesota. 12% more houses in Minneapolis. Prices went down on rent 4%. It's working. And then making sure tax cuts go to the middle class. $6,000 child tax credit. We have one in Minnesota. Reduces childhood poverty by a third. We save money in the long run, and we do the right thing for families. And then getting businesses off the ground. The law as it stands right now is $5,000 tax credit for small business, increasing that to $50,000. Now, this is a philosophical difference between us. Donald Trump made a promise, and I'll give you this. He kept it. He took folks to Mar-a-Lago, said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He gave the tax cuts that predominantly went to the top pass. What happened there was an $8 trillion increase in the national debt, the largest ever. Now he's proposing a 20% consumption or sales tax on everything we bring in. Everyone agrees, including businesses, it would be destabilizing it. It would increase inflation and potentially lead to a recession. Look, this is simple for you. Where are we going? Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do. We'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best. More people are participating in it, and folks have the things that they need.
Senator, I want to give you a moment to respond on that. But similarly, the Wharton School has done an analysis of the Trump plan and says it would increase the nation's deficit by $5.8 trillion. My question is the same for you. How do you pay for all that without ballooning the deficit? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, you're going to hear a lot from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer, a lot of what Kamala Harris proposes to do. And some of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear, is that Kamala Harris has already done it because she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She had the opportunity.
It's a typical politician. I hope everybody's paying attention to what they do. They asked him a very specific question. He's not answering the question. And if y'all don't believe me, I'm going to rewind it real quick one more time so people understand what's going on. They asked him a very specific question. Watch exactly what he does.
My question is the same for you. How do you pay for all that without ballooning the deficit? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, you're going to hear a lot from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer, a lot of what Kamala Harris proposes to do. And some of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear, is that Kamala Harris has already done it because she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She had the opportunity to enact all of these great policies. And what she's actually done instead is drive the cost of food higher by 25%, drive the cost of housing higher by about 60%, open the American southern border and make middle-class life unaffordable for a large number of Americans. If Kamala Harris has such great plans for how to address middle-class problems, then she ought to do them now. Not when asking for a promotion, but in the job the American people gave her 3.5 years ago. And the fact that she isn't tells you a lot about how much you can trust her actual plans. Now, Donald Trump's economic plan is not just a plan, but it's also a record. A lot of those same economists attack Donald Trump's plans, and they have PhDs, but they don't have common sense and they don't have wisdom, because Donald Trump's economic policies delivered the highest take-home pay in a generation in this country, 1.5% inflation, and to boot, peace and security all over the world. So when people say that Donald Trump's economic plan doesn't make sense, I say, look at the record. He delivered rising take-home pay for American workers. Now, Tim admirably admits that they want to undo the Trump tax cuts. But if you look at what was so different about Donald Trump's tax cuts, even from previous Republican tax cut plans, is that a lot of those resources went to giving more take-home pay to middle-class and working-class Americans. It was passed in 2017, and you saw an American economic boom unlike we've seen in a generation in this country. That is a record that I'm proud to run on, and we're going to get back to that common sense wisdom so that you can afford to live the American dream again. I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
Governor, do you want to respond to that? What has Kamala Harris done for the middle class?
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris's day one was Donald Trump's failure on COVID that led to the collapse of the economy. We were already before COVID in a manufacturing recession, but 10 million people out of work, largest percentage since the Great Depression. 9 million jobs closed on that. That was day one. Whether it was the Infrastructure Act or other things we moved. Now, you made a question about experts, said this. I've made a note of this. Economists can't be trusted. Science can't be trusted. National security folks can't be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, you don't have all the answers. Donald Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day is this. If you need heart surgery, listen to the people at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, not Donald Trump. And the same thing goes with this. And I ask you out there, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, whatever, how is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years, in the last year as president? That's what's wrong with the system. There's a way around it, and he's bragged about that. We're just asking for fairness in it, and that's all you want.
You have a minute.
Governor, you say trust the experts, but those same experts for 40 years said that if we shipped our manufacturing base off to China, we'd get cheaper goods. They lied about that. They said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class stronger. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the idea that if we made America less self-reliant, less productive in our own nation, that it would somehow make us better off, and they were wrong about it. And for the first time in a generation, Donald Trump had the wisdom and the courage to say to that bipartisan consensus, we're not doing it anymore. We're bringing bringing American manufacturing back. We're unleashing American energy. We're going to make more of our own stuff. And this isn't just an economic issue. I mean, I've got 3 beautiful little kids at home, 7, 4, and 2, and I love them very much, and I hope they're in bed right now. But look, so many of the drugs, the pharmaceuticals that we put in the bodies of our children are manufactured by nations that hate us. This has to stop, and we're not going to stop it by listening to experts. We're going to stop it by listening to common sense wisdom, which is what Donald Trump governed on.
Senator, your time is up. Governor Walz, can you address that? I mean, voters say they trust Donald Trump on the economy more. Why?
Go ahead, B.
Oh, no. You're not going to do that to me. No.
No, you said you. I thought you were about to say something.
Yeah. Do you not agree with what he said?
I don't know who he was blaming. The experts that he was speaking of are dead and gone.
Well, think about it. Who's in office right now, buddy?
No, you heard what he said. He said the experts that put us in the Industrial Revolution, the outsourced jobs, those people are dead and gone. So he's saying because those guys were wrong, I guess in a sense, because Americans did get cheaper goods. So I don't know how they were wrong about that, but they outsourced a lot of jobs and didn't care about the consequences of it. How are you going to contribute that to the new experts now?
We're doomed, buddy.
I'm just saying, explain that. I'm not going to trust the experts of today because the experts 100 years ago were wrong about something. What kind of logic is that?
I'm not going to trust the experts of the day because the experts of the day wanted you to get the JAB, and you see what happened with that.
Hey. Look, I don't want to get into a COVID conversation, but I also remember a president saying that you could just insert bleach into your skin and it'll be okay. I also know the same motherfucker that said this shit wasn't a real thing. I'd rather trust an expert that's actually
look. My state didn't shut down. My state didn't shut down.
I'm fine.
My state didn't close.
I never stopped working. That's fine and dandy. But I would trust an expert over somebody that has no knowledge on what the fuck they're speaking about. I don't even get that. Like, what? What are we talking about? You gonna trust just Joe Blow off the street? Oh, hey, my bad. He's a multi-billionaire in real estate. So I'm gonna trust him when it comes to medical issues. What are you talking about? I'll trust an expert before I trust him.
I mean, you trust the foreman, don't you?
You're trusting a billionaire in real estate over a doctor.
You trust the guy that told you to rub some dirt in a level 2 wound.
Jesus Christ.
You trusted a guy that pulled your fucking wisdom teeth and gave you some aspirin and told you to be okay. You had nerves and shit hanging out. Come on, man. Let's talk about trust and being naive when you're young. We're all young once. Even this country is young.
This makes absolutely no sense right now, y'all. I'm just being honest with you. I'm gonna read some of these comments and then go back to the video. See, Red said the TDS is strong with this one, and Hurricane said I'd rather trust Chuck Norris. All right now, and then Red said I trust a crackhead before a self-proclaimed expert. Okay, let's keep going.
What's the TDS?
Say it again.
What was the TDS?
Red had to put it down there for you.
You want billionaires to get tax cuts. You heard what the numbers were. Look, I'm a union guy on this. I'm not a guy who wanted to ship things overseas, but I understand that, look, we produce soybeans and corn. We need to have fair trading partners. That's something that we believe in. I think the thing that most concerns me on this is Donald Trump was the guy who created the largest trade deficit in American history with China. So the rhetoric is good. Much of what the senator said right there, I'm in agreement with him on this. I watched it happen too. I watched it to my communities, and we talked about that. But we had people undercutting the right to collectively bargain. We had right to work states made it more difficult. We had companies that were willing to ship it over, and we saw people profit. Folks that are venture capital in some cases, putting money into companies that were overseas. We're in agreement that we bring those home. The issue is Donald Trump is talking about it. Kamala Harris has a record 250,000 more manufacturing jobs just out of the IRA.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
So appreciate that. So if you notice what Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics
that's a
show
gross
that he
generalization.
did. So what Tim Walz is doing, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
I hope we have a conversation on healthcare then.
Senator, Governor.
Please.
Thank you. Margaret?
We have a lot to get to ahead, gentlemen, on many topics. But right now, I want to talk about personal qualifications. The vice president is often the last voice the president hears before making consequential decisions. We want to ask you about your leadership qualities. Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that. Those same people elected me to Congress for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one of the most bipartisan people, working on things like farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the people of Minnesota were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has been from the beginning to make sure that I'm there for the people, to make sure that I get this right. I will say more than anything, many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID. And I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community. And then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress, those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
All right, so pretty much he didn't answer the question at all about him not being there when he said he was there. But we have Uncanny up in the building. Sir, Uncanny, what's going on, man?
Hello?
Hello?
How you doing, Jay?
You don't like you.
How you doing, fellow Riddler?
Another
Sure.
night, Joker.
I see you holding it down for me, messing with Jay and shit.
Of
His
course.
other anti-villain is in the fucking chat, but he doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where Red at, man. I ain't reading. I'm driving, so.
Oh,
But-
I'm not gonna lie to you, Riddler. If anybody can piss off Jay, it's that guy. But Uncanny has one question. Ever since ever since 2001, I mean, I'm sorry, since the September 11 attacks, God, rest in peace to those people. There has always been one question that we need to ask ourselves in a time of political debates and all that shit. Where is Ja?
Where's Ja?
Where is Ja? Where is Ja Rule when we need him to help us?
He's with his
Ja
boyfriend
Rule.
somewhere, I'm sure.
Where's Ja Rule at? We need Ja Rule for these answers.
Yeah,
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule's with his boyfriend somewhere now.
Ja Rule's gay?
Look. We not going into Beans conspiracies.
Ain't no conspiracy.
We need to stop doing that, man.
Ain't no
Damn.
conspiracy. Ja Rule came out. What are you talking about?
I want everybody to understand, because I don't think Bean knows how this social media shit works. We do not make claims like that.
Allegations.
Everything that comes out of Bean's mouth is all his and his only. It has nothing to
Allegedly.
do it has nothing to do with the network. It's all Bean. I've been trying my best to regulate this shit right. That is his thoughts. That is his beliefs. It has nothing to do with anything that's
Allegedly. Those are my beliefs.
Allegedly, Ja Rule's
shit.
gay. But where
Jesus
is he? Where
Christ.
is Ja when we need him? We,
Allegedly, after the fireman thing, the concert that failed.
yeah.
Allegedly he came out.
Oh, so allegedly he's fruitcake.
I don't know about that term, but he's with the ABC boys.
And we're not talking about liquor, the liquor store.
No,
Okay, gotcha. Well, allegedly, where is he? We need him.
he's murder.
I don't believe.
See,
Hold up. Hold up. I'm singing the wrong one. Which one are you singing? So you pissing Jay off tonight? Is that what you're doing, Bean? I heard him a couple of times go, what are you talking about? Let's get back to the video.
This is bad when we're trying to actually have a show to like inform people about the debate. Bean got a big problem. I ain't like this is not telling anybody about themselves time, but we need to stay on topic, y'all. We gotta stay on topic. We're
Okay.
trying to
about
we're
the
trying to
what
get through
time?
this thing.
We got to stay on topic. All right. So
Okay,
basically, I feel like nobody won this debate. I feel like they didn't pull no punches. They were very civil, and that's new. Some allegations towards each other. But thank God they didn't talk about the whole eating cats thing. The pets are being eaten and shit. So other than that, I go for the boy on the right. I like him. He's a stand up guy. He doesn't hit low blows.
Okay,
He's
which one's on the right? It all depends on how you're looking at it.
oh
let's say
Waltz,
red or blue.
blue,
Okay,
Waltz.
so he's with Ross.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Ohio, so I actually know more about JD Vance, but I don't give a fuck about him. But Waltz, he seems like a good American boy, like Superman or something. Like
And JD Vance don't.
he fucks his couch. Allegedly, allegedly. Let me say that. Allegedly.
He fucks his
Much I
couch.
saw
Accusations.
These are not accusations. This is
False accusations.
and
Now
I
the
just feel like
Joker's, huh?
I just feel like I had to throw that in there. Y'all keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. Accusations. He has sex with his
The
couch.
accusations that he well,
He
I
humps his
don't know if
couch.
that's true or not. I can't speak on that. I mean, I don't hump the couch or two. Everybody has. You get drunk enough, you can do anything. Uncanny?
Yeah, we lost Uncanny. He's back now.
Oh, there we go.
You said you fucked your couch too?
You have too.
I'm, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe dry.
yeah. Nah, we about to get back to the video.
Wait. Listen. Accusations on the humping the couch, but I mean
Allegedly.
allegedly, but supposedly. Not, yes, Hurricane. I don't know where this conversation goes, but I'm just saying. Supposedly, JD Vance humped his couch allegedly,
Hey man,
and
every network has to have a hype man, and that's me. I bring the fun, the
Bean,
crazy
you are
shit to
not
the show.
hyping. You are bringing demonetization. That's what you bringing. You're bringing demonetization right now. I'm
but,
trying my best.
but,
Yeah.
but
But yeah,
wait.
I will, Hurricane. I will be editing this part out. Yes, I
I
will
just,
be.
I'm just saying, like he
I'm bringing
supposedly was.
demonetization. Ha!
It's Jay. I'm just saying supposedly he was American Pie his couch. That's it. That's all I gotta say. And that's a weird problem for me. I don't want to know that my vice president is out here, you know, terrorizing all the rooms to goes and shit and
Man,
asking
he got
princess. You
a
know what I
wife
mean?
and 3 kids, man. And
But
he
that
grew
doesn't
up.
mean that
He grew
that
up.
doesn't mean
He grew up closer to me and you than Walls did.
but Walsh looks like my coach. Like he would pee-wee football. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Walls looks like somebody's principal. He looks like
See, Red,
our high school
see,
principal.
Red, we know you be fucking your couch. Now that's not allegedly. We know that that's facts.
Jesus Christ.
How do you fuck a couch?
Like, hold up, man. You can't ask that question after you said it. We all done did that. You can't do that. Like, I be listening to what y'all be saying, man. I
Oh
be
my
listening to
god!
y'all, man.
Oh
Look, we gonna
shit!
go. We're gonna go back to the video, y'all.
Okay,
'Cause
just find Ja Rule. Jay, find Ja Rule for me, please, man. Find him. We
where's
need
Ja?
him.
We need
Where
Ja
is Ja?
right now. We need Ja right now. Look, we
All
gonna
right,
play
man.
just a little bit more of this. Jesus Christ.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the
No,
discrepancy?
just all I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Vance, in 2016, you called your running mate, Donald Trump, unfit for the nation's highest office, and you said he could be America's Hitler. I know you've been asked many times, and you've said you regret those comments and explained you then voted for Donald Trump in 2020. But the Washington Post reported new messages last week in which you also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020, quote, Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his running mate, and you've shifted many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out the messages from 2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration in the first round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States senator, that Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused this of being a national sales tax. Look, the one thing, and you're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration, it's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless our country stands up for itself and says, you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans a fair wage.
Senator, your time is up. Nora?
Thank you. Now to the issue of reproductive rights. Governor Walz, after Roe versus Wade was overturned, you signed a bill.
We're going to stop real quick. Bean, any thoughts on the economics of some of the few things they spoke on? And shout out to my boy Op, said, nah, you tried to take the top spot and lost like all the fakers. And Red said, racist Care Bear versus nervous. That's not how you spell Colonel. Colonel Sanders. That's not how you spell Colonel. I don't think that's how you spell Colonel. But Hurricane said, got it, Red. They all look like reptilian shapeshifters. Damn. All right, B, anything on the economy that they were speaking about?
Just economy. They started talking about the. Thank you. When they started talking about the medication.
Ozempic, yeah.
Nah, the insulin, sir.
No, well, here you go. Well, they say insulin, but I remember that. Here you go. Keep going.
Yeah, that shit still ain't $5. I know that because I paid for it. That shit's $100 a pop. That's with insurance.
How much was it?
I don't know where they keep
4
coming up
years.
with these magical numbers and all this shit, but coming from somebody
How
that's
much?
really going through it right now.
How much was it 4 years ago?
Better insurance, or I guess the rates are better. I used to get 5 vials for $30.
5 valves for $30, and now you get 1 valve for 100.
5 for 100.
5 for 100. All right, keep going. You said what were you taking? Insulin?
Yeah.
All right, keep going.
Son, he used to ride the bus with me when I used to take it.
No, I'm just clarifying.
Oh. Yeah, but as far as this economy goes, man, you can't pull money from thin air. But, you know, my main concern is what's going to happen now that this storms is happening? You know, we're out of money. Nobody has any money. FEMA doesn't have any money. The American Heart Association, American Kidney Association, all these different associations that normally have money, they don't have any money. There's no such thing as a middle class anymore. Okay.
Keep going. I'm listening.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to explain that, bro. There's no such thing as a middle class anymore. It's either you rich or you're poor,
agree.
bro. Like, there's no. The economy's gone. That's just what it is, man.
Oh, I agree.
And when he was talking about we can still fix it, how are we gonna fix it? Fix it with what? Where's this money gonna come from? You know, you can't. What is it? 100 trillion right now?
100 trillion what?
400 trillion in debt?
Oh yeah, the debt's pretty big, man. Your boy, I think that you leaning towards put a lot on it in 4 years. Almost
Yeah, I was
as
gonna say
much
you're
as
not gonna fix that in 4 years, brother.
No, I'm just saying, like, he put a lot in 4 years that most presidents didn't put in 8. And he's gonna do it again. I can guarantee that. That man know how to spend money.
Yeah. Thank you, too.
This man out here getting food and shit, y'all, during the middle of a live stream. I bet he went to Insomnia Cookie or some shit like that. Well, he
How
can't
you
eat sweets
knew?
like that. Oh, you went
How
to
you
Insomnia
knew?
Cookie for real?
Yes, I did.
So you ain't supposed to be eating sweets, man.
Hey, man, pregnant wife at home, man.
Jesus Christ! No, Lord.
Red velvet cookies. Gotta get the red
This is
velvets, baby.
terrible. Jesus, Lord,
Happy
help
wife.
me, please.
Happy wife. Happy life. And guess
Man,
what?
shit.
The light was on.
I say this. Like, we need to change this. You need to change that topic. Happy wife, lose your life, because you ain't supposed to be around them all them sweets and shit. But you know that. But I ain't gonna tell you.
Oh no,
See,
man! I ain't deadly now. I ain't crazy.
man, you gonna diddle it in one of them bags and try one of them cookies out. I know you is. Don't do it. Don't do
Nah,
it.
man. I'm good, man. I got my own thing going. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I hope and pray. Well, look, we gonna keep playing the video. Look, we already coming up on 2 hours. I normally try to do these 2 hours. I'm gonna play a little bit more. Y'all, I dropped the link in there before. I'll drop it again one more last time. And if anybody want to join up, we're gonna end probably at 2.5 hours. So that's pretty much 34 more minutes. Let's keep going.
Bill into law that made Minnesota one of the least restrictive states in the nation when it comes to abortion. Former President Trump said in the last debate that you believe abortion, quote, in the 9th month is absolutely fine. Yes or no? Is that what you support? I'll give you 2 minutes.
That's not what the bill says. But look, this issue is what's on everyone's mind. Donald Trump put this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus Wade, 52 years of personal autonomy. And then he tells us, oh, we send it to the states. It's a beautiful thing. Amanda Zaworski would disagree with you on it's a beautiful thing. A young bride in Texas waiting for their child at 18 weeks, She has a complication, a tear in the membrane. She needs to go in. The medical care at that point needs to be decided by the doctor. And that would have been an abortion. But in Texas, that would have put them in legal jeopardy. She went home, got sepsis, nearly dies, and now she may have difficulty having children. Or in Kentucky, Hadley Duvall, a 12-year-old child, raped and impregnated by her stepfather. Those are horrific. Now, when God asked about that, Senator Vance said 2 wrongs don't make a right. There is no right in this. So in Minnesota, what we did was restore Roe versus Wade. We made sure that we put women in charge of their health care. But look, this is not where, if you don't know Amanda or a Hadley, you soon will. Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry of pregnancies. It's going to make it more difficult, if not impossible, to get contraception and limit access, if not eliminate access to infertility treatments. For so many of you out there listening, me included, infertility treatments are why I have a child. That's nobody else's business, but those things are being proposed. And the catch-all on this is, well, the states will decide what's right for Texas might not be right for Washington. That's not how this works. This is basic human right. We have seen maternal mortality skyrocket in Texas, outpacing many other countries in the world. This is about healthcare. In Minnesota, we are ranked first in healthcare for a reason. We trust women. We trust doctors.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy monitoring agency?
No, Nora, certainly we won't. And I want to talk about this issue because I know a lot of Americans care about it, and I know a lot of Americans don't agree with everything that I've ever said on this topic. And, you know, I grew up in a working class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other options. And, you know, one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching tonight, and I love you. And she told me something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable, is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and I are endeavoring to do. I want us as a Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments. I want us to make it easier for moms to afford to have babies. I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise that family. And I think there's so much that we can do on the public policy front just to give women more options. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been very clear that on the abortion policy specifically, that we have a big country and it's diverse. And California has a different viewpoint on this than Georgia. Georgia has a different viewpoint from Arizona. And the proper way to handle this, as messy as democracy sometimes is to let voters make these decisions, let the individual states make their abortion policy. And I think that's what makes the most sense in a very big, a very diverse, and let's be honest, sometimes a very, very messy and divided country.
Governor, would you like to respond and also answer the question about restrictions?
Yeah, well, the question got asked and Donald Trump made the accusation that wasn't true about Minnesota. Well, let me tell you about this idea that there's diverse states. There's a young woman named Amber Thurman. She happened to be in Georgia, a restrictive state. Because of that, she had to travel a long distance to North Carolina to try and get her care. Amber Thurman died in that journey back and forth. The fact of the matter is, how can we as a nation say that your life and your rights, as basic as the right to control your own body, is determined on geography? There's a very real chance, had Amber Thurman lived in Minnesota, she would be alive today. That's why the restoration of Roe versus Wade. When you listen to Vice President Harris talk about this subject and you hear me talk about it, you hear us talking exactly the same. Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to get the political right of this. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said about what's happening. His running mate, though, does not. And that's the problem.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, let me ask you about that. He mentioned, it was, I think, referring to a national ban. In the past, you have supported a federal ban on abortion after 15 weeks. In fact, you said if someone can't support legislation like that, quote, you are making the United States the most barbaric pro-abortion regime anywhere in the entire world. My question is, why have you changed your position?
Well, Nora, first of all, I never supported a national ban. I did when I was running for Senate in 2022, talk about setting some minimum national standard. For example, we have a partial birth abortion ban in place in this country at the federal level. I don't think anybody's trying to get rid of that, or at least I hope not, though I know the Democrats have taken a very radical pro-abortion stance. But Nora, you know, one of the things that changed is in the state of Ohio, we had a referendum in 2023, and the people of Ohio voted overwhelmingly, by the way, against my position. And I think that what I learned from that, Nora, is that we've got to do a better job at winning back people's trust. So many young women would love to have families. So many young women also see an unplanned pregnancy as something that's going to destroy their livelihood, destroy their education, destroy their relationships. And we have got to earn people's trust back. And that's why Donald Trump and I are committed to pursuing pro-family policies, making childcare more accessible, making fertility treatments more accessible, because we've got to do a better job at that. And that's what real leadership is.
Governor, your response.
I'm going to respond on the pro-abortion piece of that. No, we're not. We're pro-women. We're pro-freedom to make your own choice. We know what the implications are to not be that. women having miscarriages, women not getting the care, physicians feeling like they may be prosecuted for providing that care. And as far as making sure that we're educating our children and giving them options, Minnesota's a state with one of the lowest teen pregnancy rates. We understand that too. We know that the options need to be available, and we make that true. We also make it, we're a top 3 state for the best place to raise children. But these two things to try and say that we're pro-children, but we don't like this, or you guys are pro-abortion, that's not the case at all. We are pro-freedoms for women to make their choices, and we're going, and Kamala Harris is making the case, to make options for children more affordable, a $6,000 child tax credit, but we're not going to base that on the backs of making someone like Amber Thurman drive 600 miles to try and get health care.
Senator?
May I respond to that? First of all, Governor, I agree with you. Amber Thurman should still be alive, and there are a lot of people who should still be alive, and I certainly wish that she was. And maybe you're free to disagree with me on this and explain this to me, but as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think,
That's
whether
not
you're
true.
pro-choice or pro-abortion, that is fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I use that word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen, do you want to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions against their will? Because Kamala Harris has supported suing Catholic nuns to violate their freedom of conscience. We can be a big and diverse country where we respect people's freedom of conscience and make the country more pro-baby and pro-family. But please.
Yes, Governor, please respond.
Look, this is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple proposition. These are women's decisions to make about their healthcare decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me, what was I wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written. Look, I've given I've given this advice on a lot of things, that getting involved, that's been misread, and it was fact-checked at the last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these guys to try and tell women or to get involved. I use this line on this, just mind your own business on this. Things work best when Roe versus Wade was in place. When we do a restoration of Roe, that works best. That doesn't preclude us from increasing funding for children. It doesn't increase us from making sure that once that child's born, like in Minnesota, they get meals, they get early childhood education, they get health care. So the hiding behind we're going to do all these other things when you're not proposing them in your budget. Kamala Harris is proposing them. She's proposing all those things to make life easier for families.
I asked a specific question, Governor. You gave me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not true. That's not what the law says. So they fact-checked it with President Trump.
Gentlemen, there's a lot to discuss. We have to move on.
All right, with the immigration issue, I'm gonna go ahead. Matter of fact, look, me and Bean come up full screen on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say it again and repeat my exact same stance on this. If the left is gonna argue tooth and nail that women have autonomy of their own bodies and do whatever they want, even though they control all our bodies, just throwing that out there for you. Just some of the things you're just not complaining about right now. If that's the case, if a woman has the right to have an abortion if she wants to, I will be perfectly fine with that. In one instance, one only, y'all. If a man has the right to not financially be required to take care of their child, if she decides she wants to keep it. And I believe if they pass that in the law, we'll correct all this nonsense. Because a lot of ladies are getting pregnant just because they want to get a bag off of somebody, or it's just cute because all the other girls in school are getting pregnant. They're just getting pregnant for no damn reason. And then the state holds the man liable and gives the women a get out of jail free card for this decision that both of them made. One person is held responsible and another person is not. One person is held accountable financially and another person is not. So if they want to get to that point of saying like, hey, yeah, you can have all the abortions you want, whenever you want, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter what the man says, all that, whoop, go ahead and do it. But also, if you decide you want to have that baby, the man on the other side has the ability to say, yeah, well, guess what? I don't want to pay child support. I don't want to be in that child's life. And guess what? You can't do nothing to me legally. I believe a lot of ladies wouldn't get pregnant. But when there's a safety net, a get out of jail free card, I can't agree with these policies. I can't. I believe there should be some responsibility and some accountability applied to this. If you open up your legs and got pregnant, you can't get an abortion unless you got consent from both people, the man and the woman. Not just because the woman feels some type of way. Now, if it's a medical issue, I'm 100% behind you. The doctor's going to tell you what you need to do. That's going to be in the best interest of you.
2010.
Hold up, Pete. Hold up. If it's going to be in the best interest of you and the kid, and you got to have it, I got you. But there should be a conversation between the man and the woman, and they both need to agree if this is going to happen. Otherwise, you need to change the law. I can't get behind that. And let's see, we got Bean. You wanted to say something? I'm gonna go to Red, and then we got Miss Jackson in here too. Bean, go ahead. You go first.
In 2010, you had Planned Parenthood. In 2000, you had Planned Parenthood.
Bean, you breaking up. You breaking up. It sounded like you was going through a disconnected area. Say something again. He might be saying something. He'll be, if you saying something we cannot hear. Okay, he come back in. All right, say what you were saying again, Bean.
Yeah, go. Planned Parenthood back in 2010. I saw this for an example. Okay, there were, I'll say the university, several females who attended Troy University. That it was just common knowledge and word around campus is that they were known for aborting babies. And there was this one specific female on campus who had over 12 abortions. And the only reason they know she had 12 abortions is because the people that would take her, she didn't have a vehicle, so people would take her. So that's one reason why I don't support that whole just aborting baby thing. I'm not with that.
Tell me your stance on it, because I gave mine, and I think it'd be good for everybody to
Now,
understand.
the only way you should be able to abort a baby is if it's for a health reason or the R word.
All right. I'm not gonna hold you on that. And we got Miss Jackson up in here. Miss Jackson, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. I had to mute you because you get the background sound. But go ahead. We didn't come back in here just like that. But yeah, Miss Jackson, unmute yourself real quick. Give me your thoughts so far, especially on the abortion part.
All right, just jumping in on the tail. Well, first of all, I would like to address the overall debate last night. I watched it. And I believe, okay, so from all our worldwide nation main news channels aired it. So we got, ABC worldwide, CNN, CBS, NBC, and so forth. And the panel that they spoke amongst each other said that Vance won as far as being the more presented speaker, experience, more prepared. So as far as the actual debate, they're saying in that sense, he won. Now, when it comes to morality and character, Tim Walz won. At the end of the day, he put it out there Tim Walz put it out there what the policy is and what bills that she will sign, where the parties from Vance, basically you told lies, and he ducked and dodged a lot of the questions and stuff, and didn't really clearly or straightforward answer them. And the ones that he did answer was straight lies, a bunch of bullshit. So I think Tim Walz, by him being inexperienced and just a common man, he was a football coach, a school teacher, worked his way up to the top. I think he did a great job, and he delivered pretty well and executed on their policies. So he did win.
Exposed to be your worst ones.
All right. Well, here we go. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep moving. We got Red up in the building. Red, you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, man, you ain't got your logo and none of that shit, man. You need to just come on camera. But give me your thoughts so far.
Well, on this topic, the abortion thing, I'm in agreement with you, of course. However, I think a lot of it comes down to what's getting done at the back end. I feel like a lot of hospitals are making a lot of money. A lot of these clinics are making money. And maybe some organs might be being sold, and organs are very valuable. So this veneer of, it's women's freedom, it's women's choices. It's such clear propaganda at this point. I'm just sick of it.
No, look, I agree with you. Look, I believe that. Look, I don't know if a lot of people know, but a lot of the medicines that we take, especially life-saving medicines, are made from the embryo, not the embryo, but the sac of the baby. Regardless of whether
stem cells.
Yeah,
and then you got the plasma, and then you got the whole adrenochrome thing.
yeah. A lot of like, look, there's a lot of dirty things that go on. Like, if people really knew what a hot dog was made out of, I don't know if many people would eat a hot dog. That's what we're getting at right now. But I truly believe when it comes
1%
to
human flesh.
you really want to get to the point. Being good God Almighty, Jesus Christ. But look,
glizzy.
look to the point that I think we're most of, well, at least me and Red are trying to get at is we need to make this situation fair. If women want to be able to do whatever they want to do, if it comes down to them getting pregnant, then men should have an option on the backside too. Because if we really want to make it fair on the very beginning, on the very front end, they both had a decision to make. Whether to protect themselves when they were going to engage in whatever act they were going to do. So if they want to have carte blanche, women can go get abortions whenever they want. They should have carte blanche. A man can decide that he doesn't want any financial responsibility. And I believe that would correct the issue. But right now, I think we have a safety net that allows people to do certain things to pretty much.
You're basically trying to put a check box on a pack of condoms. You want to put a contract on a box of condoms, basically.
I find it funny how the moderator slipped in the fact that, oh, JD Vance, you would sign a law that would make America the most brutal anti-abortion law country in the world. And I'm like, in the world? The rest of the world doesn't even have this issue. This isn't a hot political issue in the rest of the world. Europe has much stricter abortion laws than us, than almost every state, and nobody really cares.
I think what she was trying to insinuate is that under what JD Vance actually wants, if you actually look into him, JD Vance wants no abortions at all for any reason. So that would make
When did he say that?
Oh, so look, you go back and watch him, bro. That's why he was trying to backtrack on some of his words. He was like, yeah, I might have said some things in the past and I learned from it. That's part of the shit. Like, you can look, just go check his Twitter feed. That's why I don't have a Twitter, because I might tweet something today that might not be right tomorrow.
Has he ever clearly said, I am not in favor of the exceptions?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you don't have to go check his Twitter. You can type it in. You can type it into Google. You'll probably find it.
But what I like about
he said that too about the Republican that was running here in Michigan, and it turned out to not be true.
Well, just Google it.
Well, what I like about Walt's theory is they're not forcing it. Okay, they're just placing a law that, you know, people have their faith and their morality and their personal beliefs, you know, of why they believe is not right, or they choose not to do that. You know, a lot of women. So it's not forcing the law. There is giving a person an option that if they choose to, they have the free will or the right to do so for whatever reasons. So what I like about him is not a forced act. It's just, you know, you have that option.
Well, and I'm with you, because that's really what the argument is about. It's a religious argument. I am somebody that believes in a higher power. I think most of us believe in a higher power.
I know people that aren't religious that are on the same side. I think it's a moral argument.
That's fine. I'm saying that's fine, but majority of the time it's a religious argument. That's what the basis, where the nexus of where it's coming from.
And the religion informs morality.
Yeah, it does. It does inform a lot of the morality in society. But the one problem that I have is, in this country, just because I believe something as my faith, it shouldn't be legal to enforce it on other people. It should be a consensus in this country, because this country is supposedly a melting pot. We have people of all different religions, all different backgrounds, all different beliefs, and we should come together and form something that could work for all of us. Just because we have one group that says, well, I'm Christian and you ain't supposed to do this, and for somebody that is religious, well, not religious, but I believe in a higher power. I don't want to claim none of them. I don't believe they should have the right to enforce their beliefs on other people. And then on top of that, for their own book to say not to do that. America's not a Christian nation. It's not. It's not a holy nation. So don't try to, like, this country cannot try to fall back, or at least one group or a group of people try to fall back on we're doing this because of religion, or we're doing this because it's the moral thing to do. This country does immoral shit all the fucking time. What do the majority of Americans agree on? And if they agree on that, then fine and dandy. Fine and dandy, let that be the law, but
What
that's
if-
how the law should be.
So if women are like 51% of the voting population, and they vote to have all abortion legal whenever they want, 9th month, post-birth, whatever, you'd be okay with that?
We're gonna have to convince some of the women to like not believe that. But the sad part is we got a lot of women that actually don't believe in that. We have more people that are not for carte blanche abortions than it is people that are for it.
Exactly, because the only policy that the Republican Party has is faith reasons. It's for spirituality or Christianity, saying it's the M word. You know, is M, is taking a life. So they're basing their policies and principles off of that and that alone. You know, not pertaining to, because I mean, the debate was good. They were civil, they was cordial, but they touched on different topics, and you have rare issues. You know, some people, one girl was raped by her stepfather. He impregnated her at 12 years old. You know, just different little ins and outs. And then the issue with the young girl, the Amber girl, who basically, if she had it, it was going to cost her a life if she didn't get one, and she ended up passing away because she couldn't get to a clinic in time. So, you know, it was, they touched on all different issues. But as far as Republicans go, it's just because they say it is not right spiritually or by biblically.
Well, that's a logically, you know, sound conclusion to come from if your religion tells you that. But the other side is arguing, no, I want to be a slut. I want to get knocked up and delete it just because I don't feel like raising it.
Now, Red, I tell you, you know, I don't agree with that logic. But if it was a law, I would have to go with it. I don't agree that a lot of the laws we have on the books are not enforced. They pick and choose what they want to enforce and what they don't.
Yeah, isn't it illegal? I think, like in Alabama, it's illegal to tie an alligator to the stop sign on a Thursday.
We're not the alligator state, man. I don't know why Alabama keeps getting labeled as that.
It's illegal to hang clothes on Sunday in Alabama. It's also illegal to walk down the street with an ice cream cone in your pocket on Sunday as well.
Okay, I want to know how that law got written. Was somebody like wilding out with ice cream dripping down their pants?
Oh, Alabama's full of stupid ass laws like that, but every state is, bro. There's some dickhead somewhere who was bored one day and just wanted to be a douchebag, man. And time went on and people just forgot about it because it wasn't important. Like jaywalking. You have to jaywalk now.
Look, picture it like the Trump tax cut. Like, look, we had a bill that was written to do the taxes, and at the last minute, it was like, oh, we're gonna get it through, and everybody just ran there and started writing shit in. You got some dumbass laws that are written in every fucking state. Like we had code, like color code laws. I forget what they call. Well, you know, you couldn't be black and walking down a railroad at a certain period of time. It's a dumb law.
Jim Crow.
The government's too big. Legislature's too big. We should just delete it and start over.
No, I agree. And we need to go to Hurricane's point. Viva Revolution. But I don't think a lot of people are actually ready for that. But we need to change a lot of things, and we need to actually really take control of the government that actually should be working for us and not the other way around. We have more Americans now afraid of their government than their government being afraid of them. And that's where you have displaced power, because the power lies.
That's a problem. Yeah.
It's a big fucking problem. And when it comes to these two vice presidential candidates, neither one of them are going to give us a solution to fix this problem, because it's status quo no matter what. One side is saying we're going to change some shit, even though there's a proven track record that, motherfucker, you did exactly what the fuck you said you wasn't going to do. And then you got another side that just keeps on doing the same old status quo. People need to have a real come to Jesus moment and really think about this shit. Like, Motherfucker, they playing in our face.
And you really see it when they have moments where they agree, like on Iran, for example. They're basically arguing about who's gonna nuke Iran harder.
Pretty much. I'm like, who made America the judge, jury, and executioner with what happens in the world? A lot of people complain.
Israel.
I've talked to a lot of Americans outside of the United States, and I've actually talked to a lot of Americans in the United States, and they talk about how these other countries feel about us. But if we actually take a second and think about our mindset when it comes to the world, us against the world, America walks around and acts like they are the big dog on the block, and they gonna do whatever the fuck they want. Why wouldn't anybody else feel some type of way?
John F. Kennedy said, you know, when I want children across the world to think of America, I don't want them to think of a man with a gun.
That goes to the Marine Corps entire standard. We're here to win the hearts and minds. That's the whole point of winning the war. The hearts and minds.
It's kind of hard to do that with an M16 in the middle of the night.
It is. That's why they try to do all that diplomatic bullshit to try to trick motherfuckers in. Like, look, you see my army on the other side of that hill, right? You see them? They got rockets, they got guns, they got missiles, they got everything. Now, you gonna sign this paper, or do I need to send them on up here? That's what America does.
Biggest hypocrites in the world.
Yeah, we will murk you and take your shit. And that's what America was built on, murking people and taking their shit, and they do it around the world. And a lot of people don't understand why a lot of people in other countries do not like the United States. Why can't Iran have a nuclear weapon? Because the United States.
Because here's why. Because Israel is afraid of them if they have a nuclear weapon. Israel doesn't want Iran to have the negotiating power that comes with having it.
Exactly. There you go. If somebody got something that it's like them people that had a problem with Diddy. Matter of fact, it's kind of like the FBI right now with Diddy. Hey, look, Diddy, we get you with all these charges, but I bet money they want somebody else. They don't really want Diddy. They want
Diddy
somebody
has
else.
a nuke.
Well, they say Jay-Z next.
Exactly. Diddy just the person that they could get to, and they know he got information. It's like that's how the United States is, man. It's all about leverage. That's what it's all about. And people don't understand it. They're not thinking deep into the game of what's going on. And that's the problem with this country. It's all surface level thinking. These people that are running, these motherfuckers don't give a fuck about us. We spend so much
It's really
money.
demoralizing because, like, I feel like the average person, like, if they were informed, they wouldn't want to be going to war. They would want peace. Like, most Americans wanted peace right before World War II happened. And then they staged, Pearl Harbor.
Hey, think about this. Think about right after 9/11. Bush tried his best to go over there after that. They attacked us. Americans like, man, calm down.
Dude, all of them did. Bill Clinton, Bush, both Bushes, Obama.
Yeah,
there's like 5 presidents with 10 wars between them.
I'm talking about that select period of time where after 9/11 happened, George Bush and them came out. Him and Dick Cheney was like, yeah, it was these people that did it. Afghanistan, Iraq. That's where they came from. We want to go to war. And the American public pushed back on that. But after he said they had weapons of mass destruction, put that fear in Americans' heart.
And Saddam was gassing people.
Yeah. Then we went. Think about this. They knocked down towers. They fucked up the Pentagon. Thousands of people passed away. The American public was like, nah, chill. But as soon as the motherfucker said, yeah, they could blow this whole country up. Like, yeah, go get them. Go get that motherfucker right now. And we find out the whole time, they ain't had shit. And then on top of that, where we went was not where they were from. It's just a game that
it was very convenient for that other country down there. Same thing with when they took out Gaddafi.
Yeah. See, I got somebody up here thinking. They seeing.
Yeah, when they took out Gaddafi, that was like the end of the Middle East.
And then they saying, God, we trust.
There's a line in your face, and everybody holding that shit in their pocket.
Gaddafi was one of the main people who held it down over there.
He was creating like an African central bank, but we can't have that.
No.
Did you guys see
healthcare, free education?
What's his name? Josh Shapiro. He was in Pennsylvania last week signing bombs that were going to Ukraine, like with a smile on his face, autographing bombs that are probably going to be, chopping up 18-year-old kids.
I mean, think about this. That's the hypocrisy of, and both parties are with it. They got mainly to the Republican Party that I'm gonna focus on right now. They care about a life. You care about a life inside of a woman's body, but you don't care about a life after it gets outside of it, because they're the number one warmongers in the United States.
Come on now.
Like, I'm like, let's think about that shit. And Democrats, look, they ain't gonna hold their tongue on this. They ain't gonna hide their hand on it, because
Well,
they be
they're
right there with
more
them.
for war now. Like Trump is
They
actually
be
dialed
right there
back,
with him.
even from Republicans. That's why George Bush and Dick Cheney don't support Trump, because he says, I want to end the war, and they're like, oh, does that mean you want this guy to win? He's like, no, I want to end the war.
And Trump ain't trying to
we
end
can't
no
have that.
goddamn war, man. He just talk. Man, look, come on, man.
He didn't have
He
any.
talking about inciting
He didn't
war.
start any.
Red, by now, you gotta know that man just talking, bro. You know that man just talking, bro.
4 years, he didn't start any.
Look. Thank God.
No,
God
but
he
he
didn't
did
start
drop a
it.
Moab.
Look, he
Yeah,
did a lot
he
of
dropped the
talking.
Moab and killed Soleimani.
Look, I'm not gonna hold it when it comes to like war and shit. Honestly, that's not my problem, because I'm not gonna be somebody that's called up for that shit. But I do not want to.
I got one more year and I can chill, and I'll be 25.
Now you still always gonna get caught, man. Look, if you never served, you might want to read them goddamn.
Dude, I just read. They just changed the draft laws. They changed them in 39 states. So I just learned this. If you get a driver's license in Michigan, you are automatically put into the selective service without even knowing about it.
Yeah, most people are. That's how it is in most states. For men.
That's
make sure.
Unless you're the firstborn, the firstborn or secondborn, some shit like that. If the firstborn is already enlisted.
Wait, so am I good?
No, you're not.
But I'm a firstborn.
You're not good. You're not good. You're gonna definitely.
They changed the law.
If it ever comes down to it,
in World War II, it was the firstborn. They changed that when they just redacted that. A couple months ago, a year ago.
Yeah, it's just straight up conscription across the board. If you have not served this country, you are on the board for being able to be drafted. And the sad part is, the people like me that have actually already served, they're probably be the first ones that they'll come for.
You're in the top tier. People who are prior service,
they'll try to.
Yeah, they don't want to train us lazy smoking Zoomers.
Oh no! They're gonna do y'all too. Just throwing it out there. They can do multiple things at the same time.
What's the age limit now? The age limit, because I remember back in
18 to 25.
08, yeah, they were saying up to 30.
That's for the draft. But if they actually did look, I'm trying to tell you, overnight, just like how they did with the Asian hate crime bill, nobody is safe. Like, man, you might be lucky. They probably just adopt what Ukraine did.
Yeah, Ukraine had those laws too, and then when they got invaded, everything changed, and they just started dragging people out the house,
grabbing people out the house.
It was like 60-year-old men, women.
Yeah, that was their age limit, 18 to 60. The United States, look, we saw how they did it with the Asian hate crime bill. They got that shit. We talk about government not working. When they want to get something done, they do it just like that. And when they
want to fight a war, they got all the money and resources and experts.
All the money, all the effort. We making government move right now. That's gonna happen.
Well,
so
that's why they try to make everything a war in the propaganda. It's a war on crime, a war on poverty, a war on drugs.
Don't forget about the BRICS nations and the currency flip that's about to happen. It's already occurring.
Oh, look, just I want everybody to understand this, and this is the point of covering this debate. None of these motherfuckers give a fuck about you. So when any of us have an allegiance to one side or the other, just understand you're giving yourself a thumbs up while sticking a thumb up your butt on the back end. That's all you're doing. Because you might get something, some feeling, some idea of something that you want, but I promise you, they're fucking you behind the next door. Just like when Trump said tax cuts, I'm gonna give y'all these tax cuts. They want to reform the tax cut plan right now because the corporation shit is still going on. Yours is done. The one they did for you as the American people, the average day worker, your shit's over with. But the corporations are still going on. They them a permanent tax cut, not you. You're getting fucked one way or another. Just like when the Democrats sit over here and talk about, yeah, we want women's rights, freedom for their body and shit. They're fucking a lot of the men that are in America, almost half of the population, because these men are going to be held liable for the bad decisions that him and that woman made. We gotta really look at this situation.
You know what? We should start a coalition to where, like, the message is, I am for lenient abortion laws if and only if it comes with mandatory DNA tests at birth.
I'll be cool with that too, though. Like, that would be one step in the right direction, in my opinion. Like, let's say dudes can't just terminate their financial obligation, just mandate that paternity test. Because we got men that are paying child support for kids that are not.
And then you have to change the laws and make it so that even though that fathers who are not biologically related don't have to pay child support, because there's non-biological fathers that still pay.
I agree.
The military will screw you like that. I know a couple guys who, I guess you can say, picked up the second child, to the spouse. And they were in the military. Well, the military still held them responsible for that child even after the divorce. You still pay
after you, dude. Imagine going to Iraq, getting shot at, getting cheated on, getting a divorce, and then you have to pay.
Yep. Yes, sir. That's a real scenario that really happened.
Talk about trauma. That's worse than getting like PTSD from war.
He stepped out for a minute.
Are we gonna watch any more of the debate?
Nah, I think he's summing it up because he's been on for a minute, but that was near the end. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much. They had covered addressed most of the issues.
Well, this is what I'm about to do, y'all. I'm gonna go around the panel real quick, and get everybody final thoughts on the debate. And then if anybody wants to join the after party, y'all know we chop it up in the back. I will drop the link one more time if y'all want to come up in there. But we're gonna go around the panel real quick. I'm gonna start off with Ms. Jackson. Final thoughts on the show and on the debate and everything. And if you got somewhere you want them to find you at, let them know where you want them to find you at.
All right, final thoughts for the night. I think that when your character speaks volumes of who you are as an individual and whether you can be trustworthy. And so if you have a party that's dishonest, that's pretty much telling lies, it speaks volumes of your character. So policies is where it's at. Overall, like I said once before, my father had a talk with me, broke it down with me on independent party and generation is at this moment in time in our life and in our nation. That's where it's at, independent party. So, but overall, the debate was decent, civilized. And I just say, again, everybody vote to do your part, what you can do to, hey, make a change and make that effect.
And is there anywhere they can find you on social media if you want them to find you?
And I'm working on it. Not at the moment. I'm working on it, and I would love to join the backstage tonight, but phone finna go dead.
Put that thing on charge.
All
right. Now, next we're gonna go to Beans World, sir. Final thoughts on the show tonight.
Yeah, it's just we're screwed regardless. I mean, I can't speak on what she just said as far as judging people off of their character based off of their political beliefs, because some people supported Hitler and they're still walking around today, so you can't necessarily say just somebody's political beliefs. But at the same time, I'm not for nor against. I am pro woman, have the right to pick to choose what they do with their bodies. But at the same time, the only way you should be able to delete a baby is if it's that R word or if it's a health reason. And that's what I mean by the pick and choose with your body. As far as the economy goes, they can make promises on everything they want to, but it's already gone. It's too late. You know, we're so many hundreds of $1 trillion in debt. You're not gonna fix that in 4 years. But you gotta remember, if JD Vance and Trump win this election, basically he's just springboarding for Vance to run the next, because Trump can't run another 4 years. So, but in closing, you'll find me on here, amping this channel up, JVJ, the network, and that's all I have.
All right. Next up and finally, Mr. Red Illusion. Sir, final thoughts.
So analytically, 90% of language is body language. I saw Vance. He looked pretty prepared. He looked pretty comfortable here. It was kind of like a Kennedy-Nixon scenario. And Tim Walz was looking a little nervous. His eyes were bulging. It looked like he was sweating at one point. But I'm not a fan of this debate style format, like muting the mics, fact checking, and none of them are answering questions. It would be much better if it was like some Joe Rogan type shit and they're just sitting down talking to each other. But I'm Red Illusion. You can find me at that on YouTube, and Red Z Illusion on Instagram.
All right, man. Y'all heard it here first. Look, man, my final thoughts on everything, man. Look, we're not here to tell you which side to vote for. We're not telling you which side to align yourself with. Just trying to give you information so you can open your mind up and think. Think for your goddamn self and stop letting these people that get on TV and on these debates or whatever try to warp you into believing a certain thing. Really listen to what they're saying. Pay attention to what's going on. Really compartmentalize what's important in your own personal life and what you actually truly care about, and stop using all these other things to just get your vote. Like be knowledgeable, y'all. That's all I can really tell you. Just be knowledgeable, and hopefully we can get to a better place. I can't change the world. Everybody ain't gonna make the boat. I don't think any of us can change everything that's going on here, but all we can do is try to help and put our little foot forward. And this is my way of trying to do it. But look, y'all, it's been fun. It's been great. I hope everybody that came in here hit that like button for your boy. I hope y'all subscribe. Y'all have not. Man, make sure y'all turn them notices on. Hit that button for all, so y'all know every time we dropping them, and we doing it every night. But and share the videos too. Share the videos. Facebook, TikTok, whatever the fuck y'all like to get on. I don't know what y'all be on, man. I don't be on that shit. I just be right over here. But yeah, share the videos so we all can then let the people see what we got going on around here. But we're gonna be back here again, y'all. You want to join the after party, hit the after party button. But we're up out of here. We'll catch y'all in the next one as always, man. Peace.
Peace.